it's not meant for short people. Who was that sitting next to me?
Yeah, exactly.
Great news. Could be better. Lots going on. Not just here, but a lot going on. Well, there's a lot of things to consider. GRF production. Yeah. You want to get all of it, all of the things out there, because sometimes we ignore personal opinion, and we don't get the bigger picture. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. So there's no interaction with there's no online interaction. But they have to. See, they have to voice their concern because if we'll do it to one, we'll do it to all. There has to be a natural, rather than forced change. There has to be a natural. Okay, let's move on with this. So we fit everybody. That's a good thing. Good afternoon, everybody. Let's see. All right, the meeting is called to order. Show it being 12:35 on on Wednesday, May 1st, and this is held at Clubhouse 5. Just an announcement: those that are watching via Zoom will not be able to call in or chat. There'll be none of that today, just because of the logistics that we have today. So come on and join us and hear it firsthand or live. All right? There's no music. So anyway, the meeting's called to order. I will entertain a motion for approval of the agenda. Okay. So So moved and ordered. Okay. Are there any objections to the approval of the meeting report from April 10th? Okay, hearing none, the meeting moves forward. Just a few remarks. Today you will hear from two basic proposals that you heard in the last meeting. The first proposal did not get enough significant time to complete at that time. So we are basically having a repeat of that presentation, but in a much more digestible format for all of us to understand what it is and what it isn't. All right. So we wanted to make sure that this is an important decision. We wanted to make sure that the community is continually to be involved. This is step number one of the decision-making process, meaning the recommendations that come out of this committee then go to the GRF board and then continue on to the corporate members, just so you know that the corporate members are made up of the mutuals. That is the Mutual 50, Third Mutual, and United Mutual. GRF is not one of the corporate members, even though we will be presenting. So I just, to have everybody understand the governance organization and the meeting structure here. So this will be a recommendation that comes out of this meeting. At that point, GRF makes a decision as to what to recommend to corporate members. And that's important to understand. So, and that's why it's important that you remain involved in the process, so that in each step, your opinions are heard. With that said, we'll entertain any member comments, and this is for items that are not on the agenda. I guess everybody's here for the agenda. Okay, makes sense. None, yes, none. So next we'll move on to department head update. And the department head doesn't have an update today. So we'll move on to the items for discussion, and we'll move to the first proposal, which is that of Nancy Carlson and Andy Ginocchio.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Nancy Carlson. Andy, would you like to stand up and introduce yourself? We have a slideshow. It shouldn't take so long, and I think it succinctly describes what our assignment was and what our findings were, and a proposed plan based on those findings and a conclusion. Tried to make it simple, digestible, informative. The very first thing to know is people were confused about how we wound up doing this plan. The committee actually created a subcommittee of Andy and I. We both have business organizational management background. I've got 40-some years in design and planning, as well as being a CEO. So other directors may have also those qualifications, but they picked us to be able to focus on looking at the existing campus and all the buildings we had to ascertain consolidating our staff and within the existing campus and Unilever. It's kind of like if you were going to have someone move into your house, grandma, grandpa, would you build a building on the backyard, or you might look within your existing structure and physical plant to determine if you wanted to modify that first or place them in first and then make a decision. If there was no room, then you might do a building. If you discover you have ample ability to house them. So our assignment was, just as it says on the first slide. This is a little awkward because I'm looking at slides here and turning around, and I don't want to give you my back. Next slide, please. The proposed plan satisfies all the guiding principles that were given to us, and it is a most cost-effective and efficient plan. We didn't know where it would lead us. You know, the answer is in the search. So the immediate solutions present in this plan versus what you will see with the other proposals is really a 2-year event. Our consultants have told us that. We've ascertained that as well. Building a building is not something that's instant. This plan and proposal is something that we foresee can be done within 4 to 6 months. It also leaves millions of dollars on the table. We have approximately, Jim can correct me on this, about $7 million set aside in the GRF reserves for capital improvements relative to this general planning project for amenities. Sure.
Hello. The mutuals are not against building. Mutuals voted against the proposals that called for security and administrative building. Our personal opinion that have enough vacant and underutilized disused space to house all our security and administrative. Not think we should build more administrative space. That being said, I personally know that we need another gym. There's lots of reasons. We need more recreational space. The mutuals are not opposed to building, spending money to get more recreational space. Just want to clear that up. This is about office buildings. We don't want to add any more office buildings to the village. Is that clear?
Good.
No more office buildings in the village. And no more renting. No more renting office space. When you have empty office space, community centers.
We'll get to all that.
All right.
So again, I just want to say the conclusion almost is in the beginning. It's the most cost-effective and efficient plan, immediate solutions versus a 2-year event, and it leaves millions of dollars available to do precisely what the mutuals would like to do. Corporate partners. Corporate members, excuse me. Next slide, please. The guiding principles in general, I'll just go through this briefly. I think we just touched them last time, Jim did. Service life of 15 to 30 years. We weren't doing anything that wouldn't last for a while. And we want to enhance the residents' recreation and activity experience. We are putting residents right up there at the top of the pyramid. Enhance department efficiency and function. One of the things the staff told us was they want to be consolidated and being able to work together. It's far more efficient. Optimize security and the protection of systems, staff, and community. I don't even think I need to spend 5 seconds on it. All you have to do is turn on television this week to see how bad things are. And granted, it's not a college campus situation, but security is becoming essential to a degree we've never had in my lifetime. And I feel better knowing that we have security. At our last meeting, we had a large turnout. Our securities turned up within 5 minutes. And why was it? They were in the building next door to us. They were right there on site to be able to solve it. And we have some very valuable and expensive systems that we're putting in the village, in the community center. And we need protection of that. We have it's kind of a free-range building. Next. And we'll take questions and comments at the conclusion, please. The planning assignment was fundamentally relocate the 3 displaced departments and staff, which are temporarily located in the leased office space next to the community center building. That's costing us $230,000 a year. Our lease expired, I think it was last month, April, and so we're now in the 2nd year of $230,000. If we have a 2-year plan to be doing a building E project or anything else to talk about, we're looking at another 2 years from literally the time we get the RFP process and all the way through. So we'll have consumed $1 million. It's $900 and some thousand dollars. I don't want to see that happen. Now, we took the latest stats with respect to staffing. Landscape, how many people, M&C, security, meaning on site. Security actually has more people, but it's a 3-shift department. The space that they needed, I could have ballparked these and rounded them up, but I just took them from what the architectural planning consultants did. And so this is the latest thing. 8,842 square feet. Remember, I'm going to put a granny unit somewhere in our house? This is how much square footage I need to find in that house. Where is it on our campus? Is it in a decent location? Next slide, please. The study revealed abundant available options, vacant space, underutilized space, and better use of space. Next slide, please. Today's presentation I feel is an exciting and efficient plan that provides long-term solutions. It consolidates departments and the functions as requested, saves $230,000 a year in office rent, creates preferred, secure, central command center. You'll see how that evolves. Increases table tennis recreation space and secures access. Right now it's on the 3rd floor and anybody can stroll in and do. 5, expands resident computer facilities and locations. We didn't take anything away. We moved some things around and we actually have improved them after spending some time, hours with them talking about this. Relocates shuffleboard archery to contemporary standards. Provides immediate solutions, not a 2-year plan. Can we get through the presentation? Thanks. Next slide. The community center is the key to solutions. Next slide, please. Here's a community center 3rd floor. Right now, what we looked for, what were the facilities that were on the 3rd floor of the open access? We had considerations and security concerns about all this. Table tennis area, the check marks, vacant spaces available already of over 2,400 square feet, the Mac Club, the PC Club, and the computer rooms. Those were, and I don't want to use the word targets, but they were the opportunities. Not only did we discover, but the architectural planning consultants that we hired and spent $60,000 approximately on doing studies made the same observations independent of us. So if you look at the repurposed space over there, we found and made available 13,690 square feet. Next slide, please. Community center. This overall plan and recommendation is, this is the flyover. We need to separate public and resident functions versus management and operations functions. They're combined in the building with mixed use, and that really in the long run is somewhat of a security consideration. So on the 1st floor right now, right now it's public and resident functions, which is open access. 2nd floor are management and operations. Right now, as most of you may know, is that you need an electronic badge to get the SEC done. And when guests need to go there, the front desk calls and there's an escort for them. So they're allowed. Currently, the 3rd floor is mixed use. It's not secure at all. So proposed, we're saying with the 13,000 feet we picked up, we can relocate those staff and operations and we can create a secure environment to move in all the displaced people, the landscape department, the M&C department, and the security department effectively. Just think in terms of who we have displaced and have we found a home for them. Concurrently, we're looking at the building and making it more secure to contemporary needs and standards. Next slide, please. So the proposed plan is simply stated, it's the same square footage that we have here. We gave 2 options in just talking to the different departments, and we'll get into that. But basically, they moved to CC3, community center 3rd floor, if you follow me. And option 2, we do the same thing with the exception of security. On that second option, we split it up. We thought there might be a good argument and basis to have the friendly face of security somewhere on the 1st floor where it's an intake desk and some of the field ops, like some of the gate ambassadors need to check in with something, where it's convenient they can come in and go out. And also, if you have a question about something, hey, can I park my bike in the carport? Am I allowed to do that? These guys have all the statistics and rules at their fingertips. Yes, you can. No, you can't. Or if I want to make a complaint about a nuisance complaint about something, I have some place to go. I had something happen this last month where I had to make a report. When I asked how to do it, it was a little bit more complicated than I thought or felt needed. So I was thinking, well, I wish there was an intake desk. I would have liked to be able to walk up to a security intake officer or administrative person and be able to discuss it with them. Next slide, please. So in total, how does this affect activities? 4 activities would be relocated. The table tennis and computer education. Shuffleboard and archery are secondary. They're currently, the 2 top ones are currently in the 3rd floor of the community center, which we really want to dedicate to secure services in the displaced apartments. And the bottom is a shuffleboard and archery, which are currently in Clubhouse 1. Next slide, please. I did all these graphics, by the way. Table tennis. CC3, poor location. It's crowded. This community center is an office building. I've been in architecture for a lot of years. It's an office building. It's not a sports complex. It's got low ceilings, office height. It's hot. They have to crank up the air conditioning in that suite by their own admission high in order to be playing an active sport in a confined space. 2, it has open access, and we didn't even ask, but they said, yeah, they do have gate crashers or people who just come up and start playing, whatever. They have 12 tables, insufficient for growth and demand. It's a popular sport. People who play pickleball also like to play table tennis. I call it ping pong. I understand people from Taiwan call it ping pong. So if I use the terms interchangeably, I mean one and the same. The key item here, access, use, and hours is limited. You're limited to what the community center building dictates will be the hours. And that means limited hours on weekends as well. So what we were looking at is how do we make this a recreation site so that you can have more access, more use, an expanded footprint where more people can participate and play. The restrooms are used for bathing. Even the consultants took reaction to that. I know myself I've taken reaction to that. It's an office building. It's got 2 or 3 stalls in the labs for specific purpose. They're not locker rooms, they're not bathing facilities, but I've gone in and people are changing clothes, they're bathing in the sink, there's water on the floor, and it's not a safe situation. It's not set up to be a locker room for sweaty people who have been playing sports. The proposed plan is to relocate to Clubhouse 1, to courts B and C, and go from 6,400 square feet right now for table tennis to 12 tables to 21. Right now, I checked the website this morning. It says I miscounted. There's 11 tennis tables. Well, that's what the website said, so I checked this morning. So, okay. At least then I have, if it's correct, Ambrose told me that's 12, so fine. But, well, that's also the ones at the ball shooters. But I'm talking the play tables. I'm talking play. So you understand, I make clarification. I'm talking about the mechanical, what do you call those? The throwers, the ball throwers. Right. But the key is the play area. We're talking the play area in terms of fundamentals. The other things all fit in there, but I'm talking about how many tables do you gain. You go from 12 to 21. You have the potential, too, of what our proposal holds, is you'll have an ability to have large tournament and revenue opportunities. In the appendix to the original thing, I included club rules. I checked the trust. I read the trust. I read all the charters. There were things that I learned that I wasn't aware of. And one of it is that the clubs are supposed to be doing a couple events per year toward generating revenue. Certain clubs will say to us, as a resident they didn't say it to me, but as a director they have no problem saying, how come some people get free real estate and we have to pay for room rentals? So clubs that are not paying for their rooms really, and a club is not a recreation activity. Because you play table tennis and you belong to that club, doesn't mean the club dictates what happens to 18,600 other residents who live here. It is the advisory group. We listen to it. It's important. Jim?
Can we have some order, please?
Thank you.
Please respect the presenter.
Thank
you. You'll have your chance to comment after. Sir, I'm not going to debate you. I'm going to ask you to respect the presenter.
Thank you, Jim.
And allow her to finish and then you will have time to comment. All right? Thank you. Appreciate it.
We are also looking for a situation where we have secure gate access. Next slide, please. Clubhouse 1, this is a general site plan. If everybody who may or may not be familiar with it, has a lot of amenities. Courts B and C are up there in the buildings. You'll see there's a fitness center, the gym. There's also, it's not a designated, but there's locker rooms, swimming pool. They've moved billiards. This is something since the last meeting we did not know, but they've moved billiards over. And right there, if you can show it, there's a tech center opportunity right there. We also felt that we can create a separate tech center in the former billiards room. Next slide, please. This is a north section of that map that you just saw. And basically, we're looking at table tennis in the two buildings. The drawings aren't to scale in terms of the tables in there. I just put them in simply. You have the billiards. You have a rentable main lounge. This is all currently under construction. It's a 6-month period that CH1 is being remodeled. You have, again, I want to point out, we have a proposed, we'll get to it in the future here, but the proposed tech classroom is an alternative location. We're creating 2 sites on campus for computer tech, the tax program, all of that. There's ample parking all the way around. On the summary on the right, for those who have it, the features are that these 2 buildings have very high volume. See, they're doing a lot of renovations in it. They put new windows and so on and so forth. They're doing the remodeling. It has high volume ceiling. They told us they're improving the ventilation. If the ventilation isn't to the standard that we need, GRF, we have the money to do it. We'll make the conditions appropriate. The floor has to be remodeled. There's a certain, like in here, this is a dance floor. There's a certain spec to the dance floor. For table tennis or basketball, there's certain specs relative to those floating floors. So the improvements that we foresee in there for table tennis, courts B and C, is the flooring to spec, additional lighting, and of course I just said the thing about ventilation. We have to ascertain that. But you have all these other features. You have the ability to have a tournament play area. You have additional tables. The rentable main lounge, you could have significant use of that for tournaments and raise a lot of money. We see this as creating a mecca for table tennis tournament and play and competition. It's a beautiful setting. There's outdoor space. There's kitchens. There's ample space for socialization. And even between the 2 buildings, there's a social opportunity of which I can see a Leroy Neiman type mural being on the walls there. They can have an outside, you can even have a couple outside table tennis tables. I know we have them at some of I think there's one here at this clubhouse, but they have them at some of the other clubhouses. I would love to be able to go over there, take a grandchild, and just say, let's play outside a little bit. Not disturb people who are the residents playing competitive table tennis. Next slide, please. So the proposed plan is essentially the same thing. These people are currently in leased offices. We would move them over, as I said, in option 1 and 2. Next slide, please. So option 1, we have the people upstairs with the red check marks that we're moving. Computer people, they have 3 suites upstairs. And we're taking some of them and moving them down to a relocated computer and tech lab on the first floor. This is really quite a large space. The PC and Mac Club, those are really large offices. They're actually basically 2 offices in one, so don't be confused by the scale of this. The other thing we want to do is relocate and create an exterior access, which allows, just like the fitness center on the first floor, it gives us the opportunity to allow extended hours and access for use. So we're not restricted by the building. The other thing is, it's important to understand, and many know it, the computer presidents clubs advised that what the function is now is people are not going in to learn how to use email and use computers. They're coming in learning about apps and technology. So it's important to have a big screen TV there because they said they're doing a lot of their classes through YouTube. So this room can be set up, broken down with simple classroom like banquet tables. You know, they're usually half the distance of this, seminar tables. You can set it up that way. He said, what he described to me, I said, you're describing a Starbucks where you can come in and just sit down with a couple of people. They have questions about their iPhone apps. They have questions about their tablet apps. And that's the big driver these days. The other option is we have social services, and Laguna Woods Foundation is in those existing offices and building all alterations there, just to give you an idea. Clubs and Rec is over there. There is a meeting room there between those two, and that's, I think, called the Elm Room. The Elm Room. That's the spillover for board meetings. You know, if we were all there now and couldn't all fit in the boardroom, that's a spillover. There's a TV in there. They also use it for drop-in for other events and cards and things like that. So it's a pretty actively used room. Next slide, please. This is the proposed option 2. In this instance, we put part of security, what I call the friendly face of security, downstairs on the first floor with the field ops check-in. And we have the technology center here. So that's what option 2 is. And the reason we opted to give that as an option is social service advisors, they're pretty much by appointment, and they're pretty much in the field. So people aren't really going in and out of social services. It sounds like an open resident function, but actually the way it really works is the latter. So that would be a reasonable thing to say, let's move them upstairs and let's give an option where the security be on the first floor partially. Next option. Next slide, rather. Excuse me, thank you. So here's a conceptual of the third floor. Now that doesn't mean anybody is necessarily in these spaces. Where the dotted lines are where there's existing walls. This is a 22,000 square foot floor. Each floor is 22,000 square feet. It's designed as an office building. It's not a tilt-up, but it's designed as an office building. So structurally, these are not load-bearing walls in between. So these are easy to remove or replace. And some departments might go and say, hey, this bullpen area is fine. We use workstations. You know, the way people work is different than the way people worked even 10 years ago. So there's a lot more of that. We moved from downstairs, we moved to create the tech lab, we moved property services upper right corner and resales upstairs. The reason we moved them upstairs, they have no public interface. They don't even deal with the public. They're dealing with all the transactional stuff that goes on with buying and selling the properties here. Landscape, move them up here. Again, don't be married to this prospect of they all go here. An important move we felt was the call center. That's a high turnover job. It's the most used function in Laguna Woods. They get over 4 million calls a year. They are working in a space that is this wide as I'm standing here, a cubicle. They're in the interior of the first floor with no windows. Correct. My knee-jerk reaction was I couldn't work here for very long. And we've now expanded the ability for us to work part-time or full-time for the village. So that would be a good job for a lot of us because we really care about one another. We really care about good services. So we moved them upstairs where they have windows and have the ability to have a little bit more breathing room, which I think is a really good consideration from a human resource standpoint. And I think that will help with turnover and other things. M&C is a large department. They actually have 2 separate departments within it, damage and restoration and the maintenance people. We have security upstairs here, the other portion of it, and we have some surplus space. I believe there's also some rumblings that HR needs some more space, so on and so forth, and compliance needs some more space. So we have, in this plan, we really think this is quite brilliant, that it's created some surplus and it's moved everything, and we've made the third floor secure. So we've moved all the public functions and open access functions of the first floor, and the things that are important and need to be preserved and safeguarded are on the second and third floor. Next slide, please. Option 2, it's basically the same thing, except, as I said, I guess I said it backwards last slide. Security and field ops is on the first floor, and we give the security stuff. That's, money counting and training rooms and all the things that go, the watch commander's office, that sort of stuff. There's still surplus space, but that's essentially the difference between option 1 and option 2, is social services stay on the first floor, or can we give some of that to security and move social services upstairs? Frankly, I think social services and the Laguna Woods Foundation upstairs in that atrium area would be lovely. if people come up and they have the appointments and they're dealing with family members' situations and circumstances, I think that's a very social and amenable environment to bring them to. Next slide, please. So we get to the point where we're going, what do we do about shuffleboard? What do we do about archery and the sports? So AB 1572 is a legislative condition set forth by the California legislature that we have to have non-functional turf removed in a certain time frame. That's why they're replacing things where they can. So, and the other thing is shuffleboard is really an outdoor sport. It has been in the tradition. It has been the industry standard, it is, and in Seal Beach is outdoors, and they've just had competitions.
All right, folks, please.
Thank you, Jim.
Please respect the presenter. You'll get a chance to react to all of this. Write it down if you want to make a comment, all right, and then express yourself, one at a time. But we can't have these disruptions. Even though we may agree or disagree, we can't have it.
Thank you. So moving forward, one of the things we looked at is we rely on the Recreation Department who provides us statistical data. Jim?
Look, the next time we have an outburst, I'm going to call security. Okay? All right? We have to maintain order, folks.
Thank you.
I know there's emotions, but maintain order. That way you'll get a chance to express yourself. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. And I think the rest of the group appreciates it.
And I appreciate it. Thank you. So we rely on utilization figures. We have a recreation department, and when you go into your activities, you have to sign this. And people said, well, you know, those figures aren't correct. So I spent a week going from venue to venue to venue, clubhouse to clubhouse, and testing, was that in fact true or not? And frankly, I had my director's badge on. I said, oh, I'm only here to take a picture. I'm only here to just eyeball this. I'm sorry, you got to sign in. It didn't matter if it was an art class or anything else. So they were pretty vigilant. So what that told me was I had more confidence in the statistics that they were giving us than listening to people who are advocates in the audience saying, oh no, there's so many more of us. You have to, in business, rely on some data and say, there may be a silent majority, but the fact is they're very prudent here and diligent about expecting the entities, clubs, and the users of a room or a facility to check in or sign in. They don't necessarily check the IDs, but sign in. So next slide, please. So the shuffleboard courts, pursuant to the industry standards that we researched, there's Laguna Woods up there. That's how it was. It was outdoors. So the people who've been saying, oh no, it's never been indoors, that's not true. In fact, it was outdoors at Clubhouse 1, and then it was outdoors at Clubhouse 2. These are the kind of standard courts. They can be designed to the way you need to have them. There's a different mechanism. They're safer. You don't slip and fall on them. You don't need special shoes for them. Next slide, please. This is not that we are trying to dispel clubs. We are trying to find a place, an improved circumstance and footprint for every single club that we displaced. So here, this is clubhouse floor. So there's a potential here that this was a former bridge room, which is ginormous. That it also poses an opportunity, if it were determined by the corporate members, that they wanted to have indoor shuffleboard court and outdoor. This is an option. It also becomes an option for potentially archery, because they share the space right now, the usage. Different times, different hours, evening, whatever. This is a huge open, enormously long room. It has bathrooms and even a separate kitchen. So we said shuffleboard option, but I also think it could be a potential archery option if archery is chartered by the corporate members. Thank you. Next slide. So archery here is typical. These are the photographs on the OC archery clubs. Outdoors is the standard. The targets are stored in outdoor lock sheds. Right now, archery was provisional. It was approved to be indoors for practice only until CH1 was remodeled. It's out of my hands, folks. I have no control over this. This is something that you have to lobby with GRF or the corporate members or whomever makes a decision about letting you play or not play. But I found places for you. Andy and I went and researched places for you. Andy can even address it. He even found a place outdoors that he thought would be appropriate. We tried to do our homework on all points. Next slide, please. Securities assessment. We got this information they had previously done for the other consulting studies, had taken a look at various things. And so this is information that we gleaned from that data. The community center is centrally located. That's why they liked it. Security management, disaster preparedness, telecommunications, and administration in a central command hub center. These are the players that have to interact immediately in the event of something. It's better able to provide prompt response to incidents and hearings and meetings. I've just said the last meeting we had, they were there in a heartbeat. The security cameras, they tell us, are already in place. They already have EV stations for overnight charging. The IT and connectivity systems are in place. We probably need to expand add a special generator that's out of my area of expertise, so it's not worth me commenting here. That's part of a cost evaluation. This secures the building and the systems data. That's important. We have secured our the nucleus of our operations for all of the village, for 18,600 people. It has swift egress and dual points. And I want to say also that they said every time they have to leave someplace and come over to a meeting, and they have to come to a lot of our meetings, they have to stop their work, get in a car, drive over. That's the Building E prospect, right? When they're in Building E. That changes their workday when they have to do that. If they're in the same building, it's not a big deal to come take an elevator ride to a meeting and get back in the swing of the work task for the day. Next slide, please. Why Clubhouse 7? It was, a couple of people say, well, we could do it at Clubhouse 7. Well, the Bridge Club is pretty big over there. They contribute a lot of revenue. So they're a club that is an activity, club versus activity. They're a club in an activity, and it produces a lot of revenue. So they're paying for themselves to be there. Like pickleball, they wanted lights. They raised the money for it. The 5,500 square foot main ballroom is rentable. It's non-gated direct access and a full restaurant equipped bar and kitchen. This facility, we should be taking advantage of marketing it for weddings, for events, that sort of thing, because they don't have to come through a security gate to get to it. And it's a beautiful site and setting, and a lot of times it sits there empty. So that's the other half of where the Bridge Club is. So the Bridge Club's on one side, the other. So turning it over to security and use it for a security building doesn't make sense because the egress is also is very problematic coming out of there onto Moulton Avenue. You can't make a left turn. That would be a problem for security and fast response. They also have no EV stations, and there are some other electrical and generation issues. Next slide. Security assessment on Building E. It's not centrally located. It's not near the community center located management, disaster preparedness, and administrative team. it has less ability for rapid response in meetings. The time and money to demo Building E and construct new Building E, which they're saying is for security only, is going to be 2 years and $6 million. Remember, we have to rent space for that time. The cost for it, is that a prudent use of money in reserves to put one department in a building in a maintenance yard? When I moved to Laguna Woods, my realtor didn't take me to the maintenance yard to show things off for me. So we have potentially a $900 and some thousand rent liability that will appear on the books. While that's done, and while we're sitting here, last year we've already paid the $230,000. Starting it right now, we're paying it, and for a build-out between the decision process here, putting it RFP, request for proposals, to the various disciplines, architects, engineers, contractors, so on and so forth, review those, take them to the city, get permits, come back, do the edits, get the final permits, put a shovel in the ground, and all the things connected to it. That timeline is not challengeable. Next slide, please. So here's a summary between the two. I thought this might be helpful to you. The use available plan is 13,700 square feet that we've come up with. The occupants, we put in security, M&C, and landscape. The cost, what are the costs? What's it going to cost to do this plan? Well, we know for table tennis, we're going to need extra lights, flooring prep. TT can spec the floor that we may need. It's going to be painted. They may need some window coverings, miscellaneous storage. There may be an AC upgrade. They told us they were upgrading it. It's in construction, whatever the reality is, that can be handled. Shuffleboard can go outdoors. We've given you an indoor option. Archery outdoors. The tech and wireless, we've moved the improvements for tech and wireless for the second computer center. It may be somewhat wired. We're not sure. We want to have another big screen team so we can create a second tech and learning center. Clubhouse 1 is going to be a very exciting place with this remodel. Estimated time, the estimate meaning the cost estimate to be determined by staff. And the key thing here is, on approval, it's 4 to 6 months. The corporate members say, yeah, we like this plan. This makes sense in terms of utilizing our money and resources and handles all the people and moves all the things around. And it really addresses a lot of the issues in terms of recreation and focusing on the resident functions. We think that that's reasonable. The other alternative right now that's going to come up is Building E, which is in the maintenance yards for security only. They have to deconstruct and they have to reconstruct a building. That means demolition of the old building, which, by the way, no one has recommended. No architect or engineer has recommended it. We have to lease the space. There's a new building that has to be constructed. And then that plan calls for relocating to the community center, landscape, and M&C, which is great. But who moves out? And where do they go? And what's the cost of that? It's not been factored in. We can't find it anywhere in the proposal. Somebody has to move out because you can't move M&C and landscape in the current vacant 2,400 square feet on the 3rd floor in the community center. That is major. We've tried to solve every problem, tried to look at everything from the opposite point of view. Okay, what's wrong with this plan? What's good about this plan? So on and so forth. We've tried to address every single consideration there might be. So again, who moves out of the community center to accommodate landscape and maintenance and construction? Where will they be relocated? And what's that going to cost? Next slide. Conclusion. Using available space is efficient and economical. It saves the cost of the office lease. There it is, times 2 is 460, times another 2 gets you to 920? Almost a mil. Immediate and long-term use solutions. This plan has an immediate solutions and has some long-term solutions. It frees up $6 million for new recreation. Boy, I'd sure like to see a new building built behind the community center and take that hill away, and for new fitness center and other things, outdoor basketball courts, and the beauty of it is the back road there connects to Clubhouse 2. Recreation and activities is what sells Laguna Woods, provides residents socialization, and improves residents' health and well-being. A $6 million building in the maintenance yard ain't going to do that. Thank you. I
Thank you.
just want to,
Thank you.
Andy may
Thank
have
you,
a couple,
Nancy.
excuse me, just a minute. Andy may have a couple points just to
Sure.
address the sports change.
Yes, I do, and that's, in the Globe last week, not this last week, but the prior one. One of the shuffleboard clubs was talking about, what they've all been doing, and they do a lot of stuff. But they visited Seal Beach, the Good Leisure World, and used their shuffleboard courts. I went to the Leisure World site, and I checked on it. They have a very active shuffleboard program at Leisure World. There's a league there, and lots of people involved. They have outdoor courts, and I'm wondering, well, that's what the site says. They're outside one of the clubhouses.
Sir, you have almost limited.
They said the courts,
Okay.
the
No,
courts were outside
no,
the
no,
clubhouse.
sir, no,
Okay, not true?
no. Control yourself. Control yourself. You
It's on
can,
the website.
sir. No. It may not be true,
Okay,
but you
so
get
the
a
question
chance.
is- the
You get a
question is
chance. You get a
why-
chance to address all of that after he's finished.
The question is, why is shuffleboard a lot more successful in Leisure World and Seal Beach? Anybody have an answer?
I do.
Pardon? You do? Good.
I have a director
Go
that
ahead,
has.
go ahead.
Okay.
That's because they're older than us, a lot older than us.
Right.
Bet my
Right.
aunt lived there. Yeah, I know. Not older than me, of course.
All right, just, okay, I want to
All
say
right.
that. Now,
Can you, the presentation is over, so can you kind of get to wrap it up?
I want to wrap this up.
Yeah, just wrap it up, sir, please.
Okay, so I just want to point that out that, we understand shuffleboard is important. It's a traditional activity, and we want to support it. We'll give you a couple options to do it. The way we have things set up right now, it's a misfit. It's a misfit. There's 4,500 square feet of space, about half this building. 4,500 feet in each building. And the shuffleboard people are just a small part of that whole building. Don't you ever look around and see, look at all the space. Just think about that. We got to use space efficiently, and that's why when we're looking around and seeing a lot of empty space, we naturally think, how could we use it? Nothing bad about you guys, what you're doing. Shuffleboard's a great activity. It's just that it's got to be in the right place, indoor and outdoor. Archery, we talked about the conditional approval. That's something GRF board is going to have to tackle because the approval
And Andy, I'm sorry, but we've gone through this in the presentation. The folks need to, we want to wrap this up so we can get comments, but I appreciate you wanted to dot the i's, cross the t's, and emphasize what you wanted to emphasize. But they've heard this. So let's get on with the questions, okay? First, let's start with with Yvonne, and we'll go right down, and then we'll go out to the members in the audience.
The only thing that I object to in the presentation was that the statement that they said that we had a lot of space that's underutilized. That is not true. It isn't true.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But by the way, in case you didn't know, Yvonne is the C Community Activities Chairman, and she works very closely. I guess they like you more than me. But she and Recreation Department here work very closely on a lot of the things having to do with space, who needs it, when they need it, et cetera, et cetera. So, and she's been chair for how long? Too long, okay. Anyway. Okay, next.
I don't have any comment right now, but I will in my presentation talk about it.
Okay.
No comment.
I would hold my comment to the, to the other presentation when I
Okay,
hear everything. then I'll-
Okay, he wants to hold to everything. Okay. Well, the residents, after the residents come the next presentation. Okay.
I'll make a couple of comments here. One, just a reminder that what just was presented did not need corporate members' approval. It would strictly be a GRF decision on that proposal, because corporate members only approve if it's a new building or if it's an expansion of 1,000 square feet over $500,000, something like that. So
Yeah.
this approval is strictly a GRF decision on that. You want to say something?
Yeah, and as she was talking, I was thinking the same thing, and then I looked very closely at the language, and this is one of those things where I'm not sure you have to, but if you start talking improvements, all right, then you start to get into the gray area. But I think you're right in terms of the dollar amounts and what we're doing. We tend to err on the cautious side because we think we're making the right decisions. But go ahead, you're right.
And the next thing I want to say is we have to hear each proposal that's put out here, and then we have to look at the details of it. We have to analyze these, not just if we like it when we first hear it or not first hear it. We don't even know what this proposal would cost at this point. We don't know if it would be $1 million or $5 million or what. And there's pros and cons to every proposal. So we need to hear each one of these, even if we don't think we like it or not. We need to hear it, take a look at it, and analyze it, and do what's best for Laguna Woods Village residents. Just simple as that. So I just say, even if some of this doesn't work 100% for you or that, let's hear them all. Let's put them on a sheet of paper, come back, and let's really look at each one, the pros and cons and the cost and the benefits and everything.
I agree 100% with Tom. And the reason I started out by saying here was our assignment was a little bit different than everyone just coming up with blue sky, et cetera. So do understand that this was an assignment with respect to do we have available space on the campus, so on and so forth. And the only other question relative to costs that I don't know if any of us could, the staff has to determine that. But when you do, my question would be when we build a new building, if for some reason they were going to build a new building, we have a new property tax gets reset. So we would also have a property tax increase if we add a new building, because you demo it and you build a new building. That's a whole different entity within the tax assessor's office, I believe. Just FYI, I think.
First, I'd like to clarify, there was a comment about Clubhouse 7 and using the ballroom for something else. No one has ever made any proposal regarding using Clubhouse 7's ballroom for anything other than as it's currently used. Bridger, but you said ballroom, and you made a point that the ballroom should be used
Yeah.
markedly, as it is currently. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. And I think we can have staff check the GRF bylaws right now. I can turn right to the third right. I think it's remodeling above a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes a gray area in certain respects, but we'll as we move on, we'll have all of that worked out and investigated depending on which direction we start to go. So we'll dot the i's and cross the t's. I don't have a comment except to say that please continue to reserve your comments to now, actually, during the next presentation as well as coming up now. Yeah. So actually, there are 4 presentations. Two have come in late. They're not as extensive as this. They're kind of conceptual ideas. Some are kind of attached to each one of these. So I think it'd be better if we just react to each one, so while it's fresh in everybody's mind. And I'm going to go out of order. Okay. Sue, well, I think I'm next on the. Yeah, I'm next. Okay. So, where are we?
All I had, Jim, was
Yeah.
just the augmentation tools.
Okay. I didn't have a chance to look at it, but great. Well, first. Thank you, sir. So that I can see with you guys. First, let me just say that the GRS Trust Park, this property that we're talking about, Building E, was built in 1976. It houses a security department now, 11 office employees. I think you saw 20, and that's true, but they're kind of rotating, those others. But there still needs to be break rooms, et cetera, because it's in and out. The M&C department basically is, that's the maintenance, and I think that is moisture intrusion, et cetera. Landscaping 9, that's this basically scheduling. And the security, and there's also security, communications, and equipment there. And it has ample parking for all of that over in that area. So next chart, please. You heard about several studies and what it costs. Where do we get the numbers from? All right, the numbers, when we went forward in almost 2 years ago now, we went forward looking at a new building E, thinking that it was just a question of, how much and when. When we got to the corporate members, the corporate members disagreed with that. And primarily the stated reason was cost. They thought it could be done with less money. Now keep in mind, when we bring these things to the corporate members, they haven't been bid out or any of those things. So cost, you're trying to estimate essentially top-level costs so you don't get surprises at the end. And so when they saw, I think it was almost $5.5, $6 million, they said it could be done for a lot less, and they rejected it. Well, no is not a decision. And so that threw us back to the drawing boards. During that discussion, someone came up with the idea, let's have somebody come in. They came up with the idea of doing exactly what the last proposal said. Hey, let's consolidate everything into the community center. Now, community center, by the way, is not an administrative building. We occupied in 2020, about 22 years ago, and it was designed with table tennis, the PC club, and a bunch of other recreational activities. So that's why they called it community center, not administration building. That's done on purpose. So the Austin company came in and said, hey, yes, you can fit all the functions in, but we're going to, it'll cost you about $7 million. Now that was the Rolls Royce of repositioning everything, and they had new furniture and new everything, but that's just what they do. Now, we wouldn't do that, but it gave us an idea that, yes, if we did it all right, it would fit. But also, their fit had consequences. Table tennis would move down to 6 tables. Archery, I'm not sure what they did with archery, and shuffleboard. So there was a lot of consequences, and yes, they did move table tennis to, I think, Clubhouse 1. So there was lots of consequences to that, even though they did the perfect repositioning in terms of, there was a $50,000, $60,000 study, all right? We are not the professionals here, they are, so we just, take that for what it means. So that's where the $7 million came from. The $7 million is not a number that we want to even come close to spending. However, since the professionals came out and said, hey, this is at most what it will cost you, that's what we said, let's allocate that in our budget planning. Remember, this is a reserve allocation. By allocating it into the reserve allocation, it becomes considered in our current and future needs, that is for a 30-year plan. So by considering it, we understand and know that this, whatever we spend here, is not going to impact HOA fees because it's already figured into our $17 per man or per month that we set out for reserve. So I just want to make sure we understood that. But that doesn't mean we go out and spend money that shouldn't be spent. Next, please. Now, first, I think in terms of any sort of strategic problem, you got to define the problem. The problem is we lost 5,500 square feet, at least, of what we've been used to for the last few years. Quite a few years, in fact. I'm not sure exactly how many, but let's assume it's 47 years. We lost the use of that. So our choices are do not replace it, and then reallocate the remaining space, and that's the proposal you just saw. Do not that. Also, or to replace it, replace the 5,500 feet, or replace as needed and reallocate existing space, okay? Or replace and add additional space to anticipate multi-use patterns that are happening in all of our amenities. So there's, you could say, look, let's go out and spend $12 million because eventually you would need, to have all of these recreational activities that are expanding in terms of just the number of activities, because this community is not reducing activities. There's a constant call for more and more space utilization. Okay, but we'll go through that. So those were the choices. So you define the problem as we lost 5,500 square feet. First question is, do we need to replace it? So next chart, please. So the committee set upon some guiding principles. And this is those guiding principles spelled out. The solution and spending should reflect the strategic service and recreational needs of the residents. Strategic, we mean 15 to 30 years. Because that's what we do with reserves. We look at that as having a 15 to 30-year life in terms of buildings, probably more than that in terms of buildings, but in terms of equipment, it could be 7, could be 10, could be 15. The solution should strive to enhance the resident and employee safety and security. That acknowledges the third bullet. That solution should consider resident service requirements of the security division as paramount. Now, this committee all agreed to those up front before we started. All right? And that was without seeing any sort of solution. Next, please. When we look at the space utilization today, the community center utilization is suboptimized. I don't think anybody will question that. It is suboptimized. We've got a vacant spot on the 3rd floor. Now, it may not be known to you, but about a year and a half, 2 years ago, GRF had proposed to move personnel up to the 3rd floor. Why? Because personnel are in cubicles now. They deal with a lot of confidential activity. A lot of confidential conversations happen. And so they have to find other spaces to do that. But, that's what we were about to move them upstairs and then do some shuffling. Well, then this building E thing came up. The community center is designed for mixed use. We talked about that. It's not an administration building. Recreational activities have constantly been evolving and have constantly evolving space needs, okay, depending on popularity trends, new clubs, and evolving multicultural patterns. We go beyond baseball. I mean, we may have gone, many of us grew up when soccer was not even popular or known. I grew up in an inner city, and I didn't know what soccer was. All right? But we've got all of these things that are happening now that we need to maintain a certain amount of flexibility for, okay? And so we get, space requirements may change, but they are not declining. We have to maintain some level of flexibility. When you take away that flexibility, you're making a choice for the future. And I'm not sure that's, personally, I don't think that's the right choice. Next chart, please. So, elimination or relocation is not justifiable because for reducing space in a climate when increased requests for space and utilization are required. All right? Security has special requirements, and we'll go through those. FEMA, okay? FEMA requires, or not requires, but suggests, strongly suggests, an independent security department, not necessarily location tied to the main offices. It actually makes that recommendation. The emergency access and egress, have you noticed, I know I noticed, that sometimes when you're going out of this community center, you end up with, you're behind maybe 12 or 13 cars, okay? Have you noticed the parking over there where we are now? Because security and security vehicles are over there, if you notice that, okay? We see more of security now. I see them walking towards their office in the next building, because they are, by the way, next to us right now. So there are some benefits to that, but most of the benefit of security is outside of that office space there, not where they reside. All right? But I noticed that they have to park their cars almost, well, not almost, behind heirs, okay? And maybe even beyond that. There was a couple of security guards walking up, and they recognized me, and I said, "Where are you coming from?" He said, "Oh, we just parked the cars." So it's not that simplistic just to move people. You got the other things that happen as a result of moving them to be, not allowing them to have their own space. There's also some special communications that they have over there, and a command center availability. And again, as I talked about, special parking requirements. So you would reevaluate, I would reevaluate the requirements of the landscaping and maintenance people that are in there. I'm not sure that we can actually fit, that it's not better to have either maintenance, if we do rebuild Building E. I'm not sure that we may want to reconsider whether or not Building E can continue to have either maintenance or landscaping there, okay? Because I think there's some advantages there. Plus, I'm not sure if we don't want to make a lot of moves and displace a lot of departments within the community center, all right? It may be better just to build out 6,500 square feet, which basically would cost maybe another $400,000 or $500,000. And remember, and do it that way, and have everybody in the right spots where they can optimize what they do. Remember, this is 15, 30 years out. Now, we won't be here, but if we don't plan for 15, 30 years out, it'll come back and bite somebody. All right? And if I look at what the residents that came before us did, they planned methodically for our future. We can't be selfish at this time and not plan for theirs. Cost is important. It's always important. And we do everything to make sure that cost is appropriate. But it is not the central goal of a strategic investment or decision. Okay? They call it penny wise and pound foolish. That's what we say it in normal terms. And that's what can happen. We'll do something and say, oh, it costs a little bit less. But when you crawl through it, what costs you less today may cost you a lot more tomorrow. Nothing's going down. And space requirements and flexibility are not going down. Okay. Next page, please. Now, my solution would be a permanent type modular or prefab building E. And when you look at today's modular, you can't tell it's modular or prefab. You can't, okay? And what it does is basically they build it in a factory, bring it down in rooms, or however they do it. All right, and they're basically $400 per square foot is high. All right, it's high, and that's what we estimated at. $400 or $500 per square foot. Yeah, that's the average. And I'm not sure ours will cost that much. I just don't know. All right. Consider relocating landscaping and maintenance employees to a community center based on fit. And I mentioned that before. I'm not sure without a lot of reconfiguration, those two departments would fit. I know one would fit easily, okay, and that's because the third floor is unoccupied at the moment. Well, part of the third floor is unoccupied. But it takes us away from uprooting all of this cascade and domino effect that moves this from here, that from there, this from here, with no strategic mindset at all. It's just, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense in terms of planning for our future. But, it's still an option. Next page, please. Okay. Why rebuild Building E? It's because it's strategic. It's the definition of strategic. It does not reduce space in an environment of constantly evolving space requirements. I use the term evolving because today, let's just say table tennis occupies whatever it occupies. At some point in time, it may not occupy that much. However, something else is going to take its place. Or any other recreation. We're talking about moving shuffleboard today. Okay? Shuffleboard has ebbs and flows in terms of people coming in and playing the game. All right? 8 years ago, 10 years ago, pickleball was just a thought. Now it's the fastest growing sport in America. And we, as young people, we're engaged in all and everything in terms of activities. And just to understand something, by the standards, I think the UCI said that the folks that live here in Laguna Woods live on average between 5 and 7 years longer. Okay, so we're doing something right, all right, in terms of how we live and the social interaction. And by the way, I always say this, the value in Laguna Woods is not the houses, it's in all the activities, the myriad of activities, your favorite activity, regardless of how many people are part of it. Okay, your favorite activity is available to you. I say no reactions, please. Okay, thank you. There also needs to be special considerations and requirements of the location of the security department, and that's to emphasize the safety of the residents. Remember, that was the guiding principle number 2. Okay, the safety of the residents. Okay, and security. I missed the security there. And so location is central to the village. When someone says it was not centrally located, it's centrally located to the village. I mean, I live over in the Gate 1, and those who live in Gate 9 and so forth, it's pretty centrally located. It also, the solution makes the needs of the security division paramount. And we'll talk about that in a moment, because there are certain emergency operating centers in times of disaster recovery and all those kinds of things, that having a separate building with a security command and all the equipment and everything in a separate place, it makes a difference. Now, none of us want to face an emergency, but guess what? We've got a disaster recovery task force. I think the last time they had a meeting, or the people who were called out to be involved, wasn't a meeting, but called out to be involved, had over 500 or so people. So we understand the need to be prepared for that once-in-a-lifetime thing. The solution is less disruptive to the residents' amenities and surfaces. I mean, we just replace and optimize where we can. Replace and optimize. So we don't have this cascade of, this goes here. And by the way, some elimination, perhaps an elimination of a valued amenity or two. or the reduction of a valued amenity or two. Again, its cost is important, but it should not be the determining factor of a strategic decision. Okay? Strategic direction at the best price is the best practice. That's how I look at it. Right? And if you do anything, I mean, just looking at, well, what costs less perhaps will lead you down the wrong decision for the future. And I can tell you that this village has made some tremendous investments in the future, in the past, that because of the past residents were forward thinking. I don't know, given how we do things today, whether or not that can continue to be. We enjoy cable TV, have our own station as a result of quite an investment almost 30 years ago. It's about $15 million. Okay, $15 million is more than $15 million 25 years ago is a lot more than $15 million today. Okay, and all of us enjoy cable TV, and we take it for granted. We take it for granted. So I just say we have to look at things strategically. Next page, please. Okay. I talked about FEMA requirements, FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Act. Okay. This is some of their recommendations for a emergency operations center. And that means when, at the time of a disaster, there has to be established a command and control. Think of the command and control in an earthquake being on the 3rd floor of a 3-story building. Okay. Can it happen? Absolutely, but that's not where I would want it. All right. So their first thing is to avoid potential hazards and high-risk structures, okay? And so that there be, and this is their words, by the way, not mine. This is FEMA's words, okay? Minimal debris, collapsing buildings, etc. The traffic flow and congestion. They talked about limited traffic flow, okay, and limited traffic at the Emergency Operations Center. What do you have in a disaster? Confusion. What do you have in a separate command center? Control. Accessibility to the equipment, the road, the network. Okay, how do you in an emergency situation that impacts, say, community center, how do you get out of that shopping center? Everybody's trying to get out. How does now security be able to do what's necessary to react to our needs? Obviously, you're going to have the government, the other Orange County activity going too. But there has to be a central control over that. So if Orange County were to have a central command and control, it may be right there at security building, because that's where all of the access to the things that are needed would be, at least that we need for our community. Parking, we know that's adequate over there. Okay, there could be there's alternate power generation that you would have over there. Again, EV charges. We've got EV charges over there for not recreation, but for maintenance. And by the way, guess what? That's the way California's going, period. So, and I believe when you have it in a public area, which, by the way, behind the community center is public, okay, you cannot restrict access to it. Over in ours, where we are, where the maintenance building is, it's restricted. And so if you're out driving all day, you're going to have to charge on your time. Or somebody, but if you take it to the community center, you have to charge on somebody else's time. Right? So, again, we talked about ultimate power generation and ultimate communications, and it should function daily. So it could be flexible for the future. So a lot of these things here, they don't come from me. They come from FEMA. And I'm sure the book is pretty large, or the pamphlet is pretty large. But I've just picked these few things out because I think they're important for all of us to know that we're not dealing with just now, but they're recommendations from the federal government, depending on how you feel about the federal government. But there's recommendations that come from them. So next, please. So when we talked about the Rango Space Study, It was basically about 10,000 square feet. And it was going to accommodate landscaping, security maintenance, and it was a common area about 3,000 square feet. And the estimated cost was about $5 million. That was 2 years ago, about 4 years ago. Now, what does that say on the cost per square foot? It's $427. And that's for a regular building. The rest of it was basically fixed items, engineering studies, yeah. So that number doesn't necessarily go up and change. But the 400, that was 427 a couple of years ago. So I'm not sure where people got all of the estimates from. And that was for 10,000 square feet. Yeah, double. So next page, please. Okay. So when I look at the cost estimates, and again, this is something an engineer and perhaps our M&C department will have to do, and depending on which way we go, they would have to estimate all of this. But I estimated a prefab at $400 per square foot. Even if it's $500 per square foot, it's still, that's another $100 on 5,500 square feet. That's about another 250,000, right? Did I do my math right? But at the point is to not consider just rebuilding the building and maybe allotting some space between landscaping and maintenance. Makes a lot of sense to me because it replaces the 5,500 square foot. It maintains flexibility for recreation. That's what we're here for, the recreation. To take that away in any form or fashion doesn't seem to generate, for me, doesn't seem to generate plausibility. Next piece. Okay. So, obviously my recommendation is to rebuild Building E, take a look at, whether or not it can be occupied by both maintenance and landscaping. Additionally, that maybe a couple of 100 more square feet, whatever it takes to do it right for our security department and their needs today and tomorrow. I mean, we're talking about 15, let's face it, this building lasted 47 years, okay? So we're looking at another 30 years at minimum. So next step would be, and we've got to go through approval, staff analysis, basic design, direction, et cetera, et cetera. But at some point, we've had this thing in our minds now, or Building E has been in discussion since 2011. We got serious about it in 2021, 2020, okay? And we came all the way up the steps and got basically a no. Again, no is not a decision. So it took us back to the drawing boards, and as you see all of the other things that have come forward. They're very, very, very innovative. They're not the wrong way to look at it on its surface, but at the same time, strategically, for me, it doesn't make sense to look at any other thing but to either rebuild it or build something more. Because our recreational needs are not going down. Anyway, I thank you. And next. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. And next, and we'll have, I understand that because Sue would have been next in terms of her presentation. What she wants to do is, her presentation essentially accents what I'm proposing. And so we'll hear from her, and then we'll have reaction from the members of the committee, and then from the audience. Yeah, Kush. Yeah. There's another proposal after you. Yeah.
I just wanted to start by clarifying that I previously submitted a proposal that involved replacing the Bridge Club, only the Bridge Club, not the ballroom, at Clubhouse 7 with the security department. And that was a reaction to the fact that we had statistics showing that after the pandemic was over, in 2023, the Bridge Club had lost 70% of its usage. But since then, apparently it's made a pretty big comeback. And what happened, the reason I'm withdrawing that proposal is I'm fully supportive of the chair's proposal, Jim Hopkins' proposal that he just described. I'd rather see us build a smaller building B, and it had not occurred to me until I heard his proposal that we don't have to build a gigantic building for building B, because all we really need for is security, and then landscape and maintenance, and it's only part of the maintenance department, it's not the whole department. There's plenty of room for them in the current building. And I'm just paraphrasing what's up here, and I can get you a copy of mine. In a previous study by a space utilization expert, they identified, and this is down in the brain area, they identified that the PC and Mac computer lab and the computer lab was grossly underutilized. And they recommended that optimization study be done to make sure we make the best use of that space. So we had an expert that said that that space can still accommodate everything it needs to do, but it just needs to be reorganized. Then there would be sufficient room on the third floor of the community center for the maintenance and landscape people that would be displaced by not building a much larger building B. So that is just in support of the recommendation that Jim Hopkins just made on the points I wanted to make. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll start with reactions from the committee. No, I thought the way we were doing this is we will do the presentation and then have comments afterwards. You know what? I'm confused. Okay. I'm confused. Okay. So we have another presentation. Okay. Kush? Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, everybody. And I hope everybody's fine. I have a simple presentation, and mine is not going to be very eloquent and very strategically planned or anything. It's a simple, few line, but thought-provoking. Maybe you can think about it. So what our main assumptions were when we first started was that we do it right the first time, correct? I'm having a hard time reading. End the rental expense as soon as possible. Let the community center be an admin building and move all recreation to elsewhere to better locations. So this was our basic starting point and thinking that this is what we need to do. So we all went on different searches, assumptions, checking things out, and this was something that I did, and I found this was my finding. That all outward security service to be at the community center, floor number 1. If more security space is needed, to use floor number 3. Community center generator to be upgraded because we will need the generator to light up the building in case of an emergency, and which is quite normal. It can happen. Like this week, there's a lot of Edison work going on in gate 4 or gate 5. And there's probably no electricity, they've announced, for 2 days. So the other thing is securing this community center is very important, as Nancy and Andy were talking, and I totally agree with what they said. fitness center to be moved to clubhouse 5 or 4, and I checked that out, if it is possible. But I found that it was not viable in the current situation because space is of that much space that we need is not possible at either of those locations. Table tennis, which is a very active sport, and I really feel that they need that good space that they have, should be moved to Clubhouse 1 as suggested by Nancy and Andy. But we'll talk more about it at a later point. PC, Mac Club, and to be moved to a new building in an empty lot between Clubhouse 4 and golf course. I mean, this was some assumptions which I tried to do, and I'm just verbalizing it here. And after doing all the research, I found that it is not really viable. But I want you to know that I tried to find the spot for you, and which was important. Elm room to be absorbed by security. That's a given. It can be done. So, manor alterations to be moved behind resident services, and that space to be used by security. So the ground floor of building 1, ground floor of our community center would have a majority portion of security. Also remember, social services is called social services, but it is still under the umbrella of security. So that whole ground floor would be controlled by security, more of it, most of it. Building E in the yard need not be rebuilt at this time or at all. We'll come to that point, Yvonne, we'll get to it. Second and third floor of community center may be occupied by staff when space becomes available, as clubs are accommodated in their new locations. And their rental space should be handed over to the landlord as soon as possible. So we say, how do we do all these things? So the proposed option which I might suggest, there is no one solution to fix everything that we've all heard in this last hour and a half or two, and also in the last few months. So this is one more suggestion, and that may not be the ultimate solution. So we can make a blend of all this, and that's what I'm suggesting. Because right now what I feel is we are doing everything using bubble gum and duct tape. So I don't think we should do that, because we need this to last for another 40, 50 years. And it is our responsibility, just like our forefathers, our earlier people did, and built all the stuff for us which we are using. So in view of all this, my suggestion is that we tear down the shuffleboard buildings, the B and C, completely, demolish them, and build one two-story building and accommodate all the things here, which includes shuffleboard, archery, table tennis, PC, Mac Club, classroom, and build some extra room to have some party rooms, the rental rooms, what we call, whatever this room is called, like the party room, rental room, and that may be our possible solution. May not be the ultimate solution, but this is what I think we should do. And we have the money in our reserve account, which we can utilize. And if we have more money left over, then maybe build your building in the yard for security if we do feel that it's important. Thank you. That's my recommendation.
Okay. Thank thank all of you for your presentations, including myself. And we'll start with comments from the committee. And we'll start at the other end. Sue?
I have a concern that we really don't know what direction we should go in until we have all the costs identified. And I think there's a tendency to assume that you can move a lot of things around and functions around and change what buildings are used for now to have them do something else, and that there won't be much cost to that. We may end up finding out that some of the proposals that involve a lot of shifting of functions and people and equipment is more than the cost of building a new building E, but only for security, because it would be so much smaller than the original proposal that the corporate members turned down. So that's my major concern.
Jim, I wanted to ask, is the next step to authorize one or more of the proposals to be priced out?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, my thought at the moment is that since there are really only really two basic proposals, maybe they both should be advanced so that this can be at least a cost justification or cost analysis by our in-house, okay, with our staff, so that we understand both the cost on that. Again, this is very complex because it does involve so many layers and so many different opinions. So my thought, in order to make it all fair, is to get those cost estimates, understand what they look like, include that in our decision making. But as I said said in mine, I believe that strategic direction can be made without necessarily the cost. We do have a framework for the rebuild. We don't have a framework for the other part, which is the rearranging a lot of things. Personally, I believe that they both should be advanced, or both will be considered, okay, by the GRF board. All right, I don't think the board will just take necessarily our recommendation. All right, because just recently we did not take the recommendation of the CAC committee. We thought better of it. All right. So it is not necessary that just because a committee makes a recommendation that the board accepts it. So given the wide variation of the two proposals, I think it'd be a good idea to have a cost analysis by our staff, okay, of each one, so that is contained in the vote and analysis that will go forward. And I would ask our committee to recommend that before we make any sort of decision on this. I know we all came here for a decision, but as I look at the complexity of this, we just need to understand the cost, okay, a little bit better. I think we understand the cost of a rebuild, and time frame, okay, because we got to get this done. We need a decision here. That's the problem. Yeah, I will entertain. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Let's go down the road. Okay. Yeah.
I agree that we need staff to, if you're wondering why we don't utilize staff resources until we're ready to have resources. So this is the time for us to be raising the issue about hidden costs. But I would also say, again, our presentation proposal was worked within the existing campus. But and as I said at the beginning, I also think that like pushing at cost for new. So I think maybe these mindful on the gas, the staff cost, the building.
Yeah.
And utilization plan and a recreation building. They're costing things out. It makes sense to do that at the same time. And I'd like the rest of the day is to make comments.
So we'll go down to all the way through, and then we'll make a comment on that. Unless we want to, let's do it this way. When someone makes a statement and wants comments, let's just, yeah, 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 yeah. Let's make the comments. Yeah, yeah. I think you're next. Right?
Okay. I do have a few comments on this. Again, I'm not for or against any one proposal here, but each one has some issues with it and that, including like the proposal for a new building, the 5,500 square foot. I agree with Jim that if you add another 1,000 square foot, you're only talking about $275 per square foot. So 55 to 65 is a very cheap thing. Not saying I'm for building a building, but I agree that you want to look at the size of that building even more and everything. The Wrangle study, which was done 2022 or something like that, since then, increase in construction costs has been somewhere around 26%, according to the California Construction Cost Index, just to give you an idea. So we're talking 26% increase in just the costs since 2022. And I agree we need to do the cost estimates and everything. But I'd also like to see the cost estimate done for the existing building E to refurbish it to a standard that would last long term and would be usable, if feasible, and what's the risk for it. That's because it's going to cost, according to what I understand, to tear it down over about $500,000 or more. To refurbish it based on the 2011 study, which is the last study I understand was done on that building. Is that correct, Emmanuel? And if you bring that up to current terms, you're just talking over $1 million, according to the California Cost Index, if you use those terms, and that's based on the California government's cost for construction and everything. And even if you put in $500,000 extra for any unforeseen things, you're only talking $1.5 million, and you're talking at least $500,000 just to tear it down, or almost $1 million to use it for storage. That's a lot of money going into it one way or another, no matter what we do. So I would like to see the cost analysis done, one that was presented for Nancy, one that was Jim presented, Cush's, but I'd also like to see the building E current building evaluated and the cost index, because that's really the base of what we're comparing to. So that's all I have to say.
I also endorse the need for cost analysis to be done as expeditiously as possible by staff as much as possible, but in consultancy if staff needs it with construction experts. So I think before we can really make a sensible conclusion on this, we need to see those costs for the 4 aspects that Tom described, the 4 possibilities that Tom just described.
Well, let me disagree with that. All right. Of course, I hear you. Let me disagree with that in the sense that we want cost estimates, okay? But what we're doing right now is going through a circle again that will get us into the same fix we have today. We need to make a decision on how to move forward. Cost is an element of consideration. It is not the element. Here we are talking about perhaps we don't refurbish perhaps we refurbish building E. We've had those discussions 4 years ago. Now, I realize that everybody wasn't here at that time, but we've had those discussions. We're past that. Now we're going to go back to square one. Okay? Okay. But why would you go back? Well, never mind. I'm not going to respond to you guys. But you go back to square one, you never get off the starting block. You never get off the starting block. We're back to 2011. That's why we never get anything done. Since we've gone to VMS, we haven't advanced the ball in terms of our reserve requirements. We haven't advanced the ball. We just don't. Can't make a decision here. But anyway, that's just me. I would say that also that we do want to have cost estimates, but to bring up any sort of new approach and then go get cost estimates, we're putting another 6 months onto this decision-making process. Makes no sense. By the way, we can make the decision to do one or the other here, and then it does not take away building for the future, if that's what you decide. But anyway, that's my take. Go ahead, sir.
First, I want to thank all the presenters. They really put a lot of hours and thinking. Either you like it or not, they really put a lot of time and effort to put this thing together. We should appreciate that. And I appreciate it because, it's not easy. Everyone here is trying to find the best solution. And everyone is genuine about doing that. And we appreciate that. Couple of things. Fact, we have a building E, which is unusable. It's not condemned, it's unusable. And we have also a building that is underutilized, which is the community center. We have those issues. Doing one solution doesn't solve the other problem. That means if you just build building E, that doesn't solve the underutilization of the community center. The fact lies somewhere in between, that we have to maximize the utilization of our community center. And when we've done that, we have to look at what we need to do for the building E. I disagree with Jim that says GRF lost 5,000. The building is still there. You still can go and occupy it if you want to, but it's not recommended. The other fact that we are not going to increase our staff. To my knowledge, in the near future or even far future. So the staff that we have is the staff that we have. We're going to be doing best if we can maintain it. So we don't need more space for the staff. But I guarantee you, as we go forward, we need more space and facility for members' recreational enhancement. We need that. As some of the people said 10 years ago, we didn't think about pickleball. There are other activities out there, spike ball, things like that, and we're getting newcomers here at younger age. 55 today is very young, and they want a sport. So we have to have that in mind. So whatever we do, it has to maintain our staff, means accommodate our staff, and also we have to make sure that we have ability to expand the facility and have facility for enhancement of recreation for the membership. All of the cost, when we talk about cost always should not be the first choice, because when my father always told me I'm not rich enough to buy cheap stuff, because when you do that, you have to do it over and over and over again. The reason that everyone is really, agonizing here is what is the best solution and the best benefit that we get out of minimum investment that we do. That minimum doesn't mean it has to be low, it has to be reasonable. I think we should seriously think about maximizing the use of community center, and also we need to replace the 5,000 square foot of the building E, but my question is what the purpose would be for it. We can do it today and build in the yard, 5,000 square foot, but that's it. That's for the staff. You cannot go there and put recreation in there in the future if you want to change it. You build it, it's fixed, it's for the staff. That's done. But if you enhance the usage of the facilities that we have in the community center, and then look at the repurposing of a building for the enhancement of the membership, that is we need to think about. As again, we have to think about what is the best and then wrangle on the cost, that how much cost is. I'm pretty sure GRF have enough reserve. They have the best reserve, and they reserve for all of these things. We don't have to cough up the money tomorrow to do these things. But I'm not saying that we just, waste our money. I'm saying let's do the best planning. The best planning to me is to look at both staff and membership. The staff, we have facilities that we have to enhance, and for the membership, we can build a building to enhance their, experience. So all of these things that we present, there is a happy medium there. There is not one side and one side. Building the building E and getting rid of that, okay, I build the building E, that's cop-out. That's easy way out. Because we ignore the other problems. We have facilities that are underutilized. We have to face that. And if you don't want to face that, that's fine. The next generation that comes here got to say these people out there, where they were, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. And they wasted their money. So be careful with what they're doing. The other thing that I'm concerned, and we all concerned, none of us like change because we are at the age we hate changes. We want everything to be the same. My wife said put the couch from this side of the room to the other side. I find 200 reasons not to move it because it changed. But sometimes change is for good. As long as it's for good and we get the better thing, equal or better, we should be open-minded about that. So please consider that. That's my input. Thank you.
Thank you.
He wants it.
Thank you. My name is S.K. Park from Third Board, and thank you for all the proposals today. And practically, we have 3 proposals. I think it is time for us send to staff to evaluate and to send back us with the estimated cost for us to inform decision to make. But the estimated cost should be unbiased estimate. And then it is time for us to be quiet and to listen what the people, audience, our residents has to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Reza, you said everything I had in mind, and thank you. And I don't have much more to say, except that my thought about building another building also came from one of our staff members. It wasn't my personal. I really wanted to build something in the back lot behind our community center, but there are some challenges in that direction. But taking the shuffleboard out and putting a building in that space, we would need about 20,000 square feet. I evaluated with all the different clubs that are already on the 3rd floor that may need to occupy that place. So I will let them evaluate the cost on that, which is, I already know how much it would be, but let them come up with the number. And thank you.
I too want to thank all the presenters. I know how you guys feel, pretty much. But Reza said it all, and we have to do what's best for the community. And that's where I come from. And I don't want to see anybody displaced, any one of our activities displaced. Anyway, thank you for listening to us.
Okay. All right, we ready for feedback from the audience, residents? Okay. All right. Is there any particular, have people signed up, or has that been?
That we're, yeah. Testing. Okay, we have 3 that were emailed, so we're going to read those real quick, and
Okay.
then we're going to ask people to come up to the microphone in the aisle. I arranged the 20 cards alphabetically, so you'll know kind of where you are in the list. We're going to start with Marie Bolchese, Susan Denenholtz, and then Egon Garthoffner. But let's let Heather start.
Good afternoon, everybody. First member comment reads from Tony Mendel, 31C. I'm for Jim Hopkins' proposal 3. Second member comment comes from D. Tucker, 252D. It reads, I'm a volunteer at the PC Club and the Village Library. I've been to both committee meetings regarding the thinking about relocation of clubs. It's very distressing to hear directors say no one uses computers now, only phones and tablets, and no one reads books now. I see and serve village residents each week that do both. I know the decision is difficult. I trust you will consider the least disruptive and most cost-effective option. A third member comment from Dr. Judy Kalui, 2392, Unit 1B. Table tennis club facility. Support for one another must be honored and acknowledged, and meeting the needs of our residents must be our number one priority. The table tennis club and facility offer great opportunities for participation and enable players to meet many of their physical, social, and emotional needs. In addition, decades have been spent to customize the facility to best serve the residents. The club continues to grow and is highly regarded in both California and internationally. It is a beacon for Laguna Woods in hosting the yearly Michael John International Table Tennis Tournament. We must recognize and be thankful for all these benefits. Grandeur promises of elegant new facilities should not be considered, and going through these discussions every year is nerve-wracking. Kindly keep the tennis table club in its current location. It's said if something is not broken, don't fix it, and the table tennis club facility is not broken. Thank you for your support and understanding.
Excuse me, Director Hopkins, do you want the members to have 2 minutes to speak since we have 20 people that want to speak?
Yes, I think most can get their ideas or opinions expressed in 2 minutes.
Okay, I don't have a timer on the wall, but I'll set my phone and I'll just say, your time is
Okay.
up at 2 minutes, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay, Marie, you're first.
Okay, I'm Marie Bolchese, and I've been a resident here for 7 years. And first of all, I want to thank the committee for the time and effort they put into this project. Regarding the first proposal, where table tennis, my primary focus is on table tennis. And regarding the proposal to move table tennis to Clubhouse 1, I think it's a matter of trust here. Can we trust that the money that is needed will be allocated once that is approved? And can we trust that it will be done in a timely manner? Otherwise, table tennis as well as the MAC Club and the PC Club will be without a home for a couple of years while that's getting done. I think you have to consider that the table tennis room is especially designed for table tennis. It's not going to be an easy fix. You go to Clubhouse 1, you have cement floors. The table tennis room has floors that are cushioned for our bones, okay? We have high ceilings. We have the kind of ventilation that we need. It's not going to be a simple fix. Some people have moved here simply because of the table tennis club that we have. And it's a vibrant and growing club. Last year we had 500 members, and we're still counting this year. I think it really comes down to trust. Can we, if we go with the first proposal, can we assume that we're going to have a better situation when it's over? I personally am very uncomfortable with the idea of moving. And I don't know that we can accomplish we don't have cost estimates, we don't have, we don't know what's going to happen, and we do know what we have right now. And for that reason, I support Jim's proposal of keeping things the way they are, the least disruptive, and having a new facility.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker, Susan Denenholtz, followed by Egon Garthofner.
Again, I thank the committee. My reaction to the third proposal was, well, gee, that sounds intriguing, but my fear is at this point, if we really want to seriously consider that, that is going to set back the whole process of making any decision quite a bit. So I think we really have a choice essentially between the proposals. And I want to point out that early on in Ms. Carlson's presentation, there was a slide entitled Table Tennis Poor Location. I really felt that every point on that slide was complete and utter nonsense and revealed a total lack of understanding about what table tennis is all about. I think that there is nothing wrong with the community center being a mixed-use facility. That's what it was designed for. And if it serves the residents' needs best to leave all the, I won't say clubs, because, table tennis room is not just for the table tennis club. It's for everyone who wants to come in there, even though the club takes on an inordinate amount of responsibility for maintaining that facility. It is still a Laguna Woods facility and not just a club facility. But in any case, I really think that residents are best served by leaving all the clubs exactly where they are. And if that means that a new facility has to be built for security, so be it. Who thinks that residents are served by saying that reserve dollars can only be spent on resident amenities and not staff amenities? That makes no sense to me. I think that the first proposal really elevates staffing wish lists, and I don't say staffing needs, but I say staffing wish lists above the needs of residents.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for your...
I really feel that not just the table tennis players in our community who are legion and who are constantly growing in number, but all of our clubs and residents as a whole would be best served by letting them stay in place and building a new building for security. Among all the, a lot of specific problems have been mentioned about the new place, but just the simple fact of two separate buildings totally destroys the camaraderie and the ambiance that's really unique to table tennis that I have not found with any other sport or club here.
Thank you for your comments. Egon, and then Berta, because you have to leave early, you'll be after Egon, okay?
Good afternoon. I've been involved in this since the very beginning, and one thing I've heard today is that all of the proposals contain some element of fiction, and sorry about my voice, some elements of fiction or misstatements, complete, utter false statements, and so I don't think any of them are ready to go forward with estimates. If you got to have one thing, if you want to leave everybody that's in place now, recreationally, in place, then you have to say so and start that from there, all right? Secondly, there's no need to rush because we're paying rent, because the $6 million, and it'll be more, that we got now in the bank gets you more interest than that rent. And that's a fact, okay? So, and we've always been told, we got, no, we don't. Thirdly, who in his right mind considers 15 to 30 years to be strategic. I mean, do we build buildings for 15 to 30 years? We could tear down our house. My place is more than 30 years old. We build for the future, a long-term thing. What fell apart at the beginning is actually M&C committee was not invited to the kickoff for either Wrangell or the other group. And so we didn't get to put our input in. And later, the corporate members didn't get to put any input in. That's why they rejected it. And they're going to reject the next one unless we get back to reality. We do not need anything like $5 million to replace 5,000 square feet, okay? Because we have the land already. The construction costs aren't that high. This fell apart because people that weren't involved, that had no responsibility for paying it, were making the decisions, and the payers were excluded. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Berta Speisman, and then following that will be Ambrose Hung, Margaret Klein, and Jerry Ludlam. If you guys could all be ready. Thank you.
I will not reiterate for you our world-class table tennis facility. What the proposal for our move, should it ever happen, is totally ridiculous. It's not air conditioned. The lighting is terrible. There's a cement floor. Just imagine if one of us fell on a cement floor. I would urge security to have patience and wait until Clubhouse 1 is available and they can move anything they want into Clubhouse 1, including security. Thank you very much.
My name is Ambrose Hung, president of the Table Tennis Club, also a California licensed family physician. A proposal has been made that the rooms currently used for archery and shuffleboard be used for table tennis. To investigate the suitability of such a proposal, on April 24th, 3 representatives from the Table Tennis Club leadership toured the place with Director Andy. We discovered the following deficiencies that would be very costly to correct. 1, the floors of both rooms were covered with shuffleboard lanes made of slate or granite material about 2 to 3 inches thick. The lanes all curve down in the middle and are not level. These lanes will have to be removed and the floor made completely level before it can be used for table tennis. Not a simple job. 2, the foundation of the rooms is concrete. To make the playing surface suited to elderly players, a wooden foundation needs to be laid before another wood or PVC playing surface can be laid on top of that. 3, the rooms are very dark. Far more lights will have to be installed to meet the official 1,000 lux brightness standard. 4, the ventilation system is grossly inadequate. In both rooms, the only ventilation is provided by a swamp system, which is a device that cools air through the evaporation of water. Here's an excerpt from an article regarding this thing. Quote, in coastal areas of California, where humidity is often high, their effectiveness can be limited. However, in inland areas like Sacramento or Palm Springs, where it's hotter and drier, they can be a cost-effective cooling solution. So it's not for here. According to the members of the archery and shuffleboard clubs, the rooms get very hot in the summer to preclude activity except in early mornings. So far, nothing has been done to correct that. Why not? If the interests of the residents are more than the money, why has that not been corrected? So there's a credibility issue. Seniors playing a fast-moving sport like table tennis in such an environment would be at risk for heat cramps and heat exhaustion, leading to falls. and even heat stroke, which is a medical emergency that may be fatal. The liability issue here. Conclusion, having considered all the pros and cons, the Table Tennis Club board consists of 8 members, unanimously concluded that the proposed archery and shuffleboard rooms are unsuitable for the game of table tennis. We have very little confidence that all these costly renovations, including the installation of new air conditioning system, would be done. Even so, it would still be very expensive to operate and maintain such a facility because of its space and high ceiling. And our HOA fees may go up. Furthermore, we do not wish to kick out our archery and shuffleboard friends without their consent. It is also unwise to abandon our current facility, which is a dedicated structure for table tennis, in operation for over 20 years and used over 30,000 times annually, to discontinue its use and move into another facility that needs to have all the necessary features rebuilt once again from scratch would not seem to be the best management of resources. Thank you.
Margaret Klein, followed by Jerry Ludlam, and then Mansour, 192C. Please try to keep it to 2 minutes so everybody has time to talk. Thank you.
I'm Margaret Klein. I wound up with a million notes here today. I want to say a couple of things. First of all, I'm a former board member. And apparently you guys have not been around long enough, because if you were, you would know that we did have security in the admin building, and they asked to be removed because they needed a place for all their cars. So to even think about putting security back, well, that means there's no parking in the parking lot for all the cars. So you haven't answered a transportation issue or a camaraderie issue, because they'd have to run back and forth to get their cars anyway. 2, $7 million seems to be burning a hole in your pocket. We still have, I'm just looking in this room, we have $7 million. We have the Michael John coming in here, and you guys can't even fix 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 lights in this building are not working. You can't figure out that gate 7 should be a gate. We've been talking about that for years, not a facility to rent out to anybody. Lastly, security, security, security. That's such a bum word. We don't need security in our administration building to the tune of kicking out the tax program, kicking out the PC, kicking out the table tennis people, so that, for what? I'm sorry, this all started, from what I know, and I'm a pretty smart lady, 44 people. And you're suddenly, from 5,500 square feet, you're talking about this grand scheme that they need the whole 3rd floor of the administration building for 44 people. Lastly, I do numbers, did them for a living. I went all over the internet. Wherever you're getting these ridiculous numbers about $6 million to build a building is insane. I went to 9 sites on the internet on how much it costs to build a commercial property in Orange County. The average cost is $500 a square foot. And you want to know what a luxury building costs, where they put fountains and they put landscape and they've got all this nonsense? The highest price that I found on the internet was $879 a square foot. How are you going forward on $1,095 a square foot for a building for 44 people? So I just think, I don't know where you went with all of this, but you got 44 people. You should never have moved them out of building E till you had a plan. You've now got all these people in the next building next door to the admin building, and now you got all the security cars all over the place. This is, and I have to say something, I'm sorry, Ms. Carlson, we are not a campus. We are a community. We own this place. Well, campus implies that we just visit. We own this place. And everyone in this room owns this place. So I don't care about people needing the third floor of a building. You know, how many years are we here? It's the same, what, 12,400 manners. It's the same 18,000 people. And all of a sudden, we have a management company who's decided they need a whole building to themselves. Sorry.
Thank
I
you.
really hope you rethink this. I'm told I made a mistake. I was
Jerry
talking about
Ludlam is the next
Clubhouse
speaker.
7, and it's really gate 16 is what
Thank you so
just told me.
much. Thank you. Jerry
Just
Ludlow?
to make sure, come on up, but just to make sure, VMS, the management company, has nothing to do with what we're doing here. I just want to keep them out of the loop on this. They're not part of the decision. They're helping us with data, but they have nothing to do. We, the residents, through the board, are making these decisions. Okay, but although we don't maintain the lights, so. Anyway.
I will be brief because almost everything that I intended to say has already been said. But I went on the line for Andy and her plan. And one of the things that said about the table tennis room is that it's hot. I know she kind of explained it in a different way. But I mean, I played table tennis there for 8 years or more. I've never found it to be hot. I've never heard anybody else say it's hot. But if somebody were just to read it, they would think that it is hot. And the plan that they have for the buildings B and C does not list central air as one of the improvements to the building. So if you were going to price out their recommendation, it's going to come way low because it doesn't include retrofitting, it doesn't include the operating expenses. It's going to look very cheap. So the system that we have right now, it's used like 25,000 utilizations. You figure it's been there 22 years. I mean, to me, the math would be like hundreds of thousands of utilizations since the thing's been open. And it's still in very good shape. So I guess my recommendation is KIS, keep it simple. We have money, we need a building for security, build the building for security, and leave the residents the way they are. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, Mansour, you're next. 192C, followed by Margaret McCoffey. And after that, Dell from 2050C.
And now you get your chance.
Afternoon. You guys have a beautiful show. One up, one down, one up, one down, one up, one down. Pro, opposition. That was big show. Thank you. As far as security, police, I was VIP with my wife. We went to one of these police stations, was much older than this place. I went every room, torture room. You know what's torture room? They have a kind of isolation that convict doesn't hurt himself. Every room I went, from top to bottom, old. And they were happy to work there. Now, you guys want to move security in our place? You want to add a donut shop too?
You need to stay at the mic.
You guys want to add donut shop too for them? Did you get the point? You want me to explain it?
No, you only have 2. You only have 2 minutes.
You want to find the police? Go to donut shop. You don't like it? That's why I don't have any friends. Now, as far as safety, I was witness one of facility. The guy fell, similar, the same floor, 6-month helmet on head. Fractured the head, skull, okay? That's security, safety. Now, what is all this gimmick? They said I was involved with so many meetings from East, West, Central. And million dollar was involved. I was a quality control for aircraft from A to Z. So I saw all kind of gimmick. With the example right now, Boeing has problem. We know what's wrong. I
Thank
can
you,
go
sir.
a lot that area explain to you guys.
Sir,
So,
you're
we
coming
used to
on
say-
you're coming on the end of your time. So can you wrap it up in about 20, 30 seconds?
Okay.
Got you.
They said every time there are movement, there's money on their table. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Margaret McCuffey, 220A, followed by Dell, and then David Ring from 282P. 2 minutes.
The chart you're looking at was presented at the January meeting, and as you can see, shuffleboard for 2022 and 2023 is 0. I'd like to make a correction to that. We have calculated our numbers to be over 3,400 a year, per year, and looking back to what, 2000, whatever the first year was, those numbers are probably wrong too. Nancy, I don't know who you talk to at Clubhouse 1, but we check in, we sign in every time we are in that building. We hand it over to the admin building, or sometimes they come and get it. So if you talk to someone in the office, that's not our fault. We're in that building. We are using that building 4 times a week. We have quarterly meetings, we have monthly board meetings, we have drop-ins for 3,500 people a year. So I'd like you to reevaluate or recalculate, work with those numbers because they're wrong. If you're trying to make decisions on utilization, I want you to have the right numbers. To your point, Andy, we were at Seal Beach on Monday, and I understand that there are outdoor courts, but we did not use them, and neither do they. They only use inside courts. Just FYI. I think that's it for now. Anybody else want to throw anything else? You want to keep that?
No, you can have these back. These numbers were compiled, I believe, by Recreation because they only get input from various places. This is trying to, it's not to make decisions, but to kind of look at trends and things of that nature. Because we don't have a swipe in, we don't have security at each one of the places. We try to keep track of what's going on so that we can help us to make certain decisions in staffing, etc. But it's not a perfect system, but it has worked for 60 years.
Dell, and then David Ring, and then John Rittenhauer. 2 minutes, please.
Okay. Well, thanks for all your proposal and presentations. Many of you have merged to your proposals. However, I think we have to be clear. Planning is not something that you can just think about and do. And I think I mentioned that during the last meeting. First of all, I want to make sure that the residents also are aware that short-term planning, long-term planning, and future planning, it's all strategic. It's all about how you're going to execute it and in what phase and what condition. Right now, we're looking at security. It's homeless. We need to do something. Security, as you know, you probably watch TV. There's a lot of situation going on. And we really need to have a very good security operations. I'm a certified healthcare profession. It's certified by the American Medical Association. So I know what I'm talking about. I've been to these kind of things so many times. I just want to share with you, some of the presentation has good information, but then we are all over the place. We are talking about short term and long term, and we are all over. Please, try to narrow it down to, hey, look, what is the person need right now? What are we going to do later? 5 years from now, or maybe 10 years from now, or whatever. Once we sort it out, I think you're going to have a better proposal for all of the residents to review and partner with you to make that decision. I really feel bad if you make decision for all of us that we don't even know what's going on, and because of cost, it's not the right thing. Cost is not really a factor at this moment in time. It's a scope, it's a purpose, it's what we want from the residents. You folks heard it. We all are very concerned about what we're going to do, where we're going to live. The community center is for the community. Don't change it to an administrative building, please. It is not for that. There's a purpose for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Building a building is wonderful, but it's a very long-term process, and you have to sort it out. It takes a lot of know-how and understanding in order to build something, in order to move something. There's a lot of dominoes there that I think a lot of us need to pay attention to. Once you start moving one thing, you're not considering the others. That's the reason when I was in the planning group, when I was managing planning, I know how it goes. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of time to think through. But I do appreciate your thoughts and your time in sorting it out and bringing it out to light so that we can hear it. But now it's time for us to settle it, make a decision as far as what is the current needs and what you plan to do later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do agree with the table tennis president. Do not kick us out. And also the security does need their own security. They don't need to be in the admin building. And then, but we need our facilities fixed up. We've been dealing with it since 2017. Dark, unventilated. Mosquitoes get in the windows. They're putting new windows in. They kicked us out for 6 months already, and you're talking about kicking us out.
What do you?
Archery, sorry. Archery. Yeah, get to the point, he says. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Rittenauer, 969, followed by Artie Rosenstein, and then Ron Ross.
Hi, everyone. I'm John Rittenauer, and I'm a member of the Shuffleboard Club. And first, I'd like to thank all the members of the committee for their time and effort for coming to a viable solution that meets the needs of the community. Our club is the second oldest club in the village, and now it's feeling threatened because there is consideration of using our club for another purpose. The proposal that I've heard is moving Shuffleboard to an outside location. We are so fortunate to have a state-of-the-art clubhouse and courts, and eliminating this would move the clubhouse to an outside location that would not be in the best interest of the residents, recreationally, economically, or socially. Mr. Cortez planned our village for the purpose of providing mature individuals with an active lifestyle. To remove one of the village's oldest clubs for the repurposing of administration staff would not be in the best interest of the residents. And the GRFR board's consideration should be the best interest of the residents.
Artie Rosenstein, 2214C. I've been here for almost 20 years. I have had the benefit, the enjoyment, the recreation, the socialization of the table tennis room that period of time. And it's a gem. I could go through probably a dozen superlatives. Excellent, outstanding, world class, and so on. But I'll use the word gem. It's a gem. It is unique. It is a reason why people who come here to play table tennis say, wow, you guys are so fortunate. It's a reason why people decide to move to Laguna Woods Village. And to me, to move the table tennis room to get office space is like repurposing the Sistine Chapel for more office space for the papacy. Thank you.
Ron Ross, followed by Mark Shelgreen, and then Bill Shane.
You better, you should get at the mic, sir.
Anybody graduate from Laguna Beach High School? No? Okay. All right. I taught there 30 years. Table tennis should stay where it is. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Mark Shelgreen, followed by Bill Shane, and then Dee Tucker.
Hi, my name is Mark. I'm here on behalf of table tennis, but that's not my concern. My concern is the safety of the village and when we're out in the community. And I think that security should have their own state-of-the-art building designed for what we need them to do, which is protect our safety and take care of us. To throw them in the admin building and retrofit them into that building that was built for specific purposes and then force them to survive in there is not a good plan. It's not a good long-term plan at all. And I think that you, sir, to invoke that you have 2,400 extra square feet in the community center that you need to address, and to make it this complicated, we got to move 6 clubs all over the globe to accommodate that, to resolve that issue. I don't think that's the right approach to solve that problem. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Shane. I'm president of the Bridge Club. And yes, hello. I signed up to speak about almost 3 hours ago, not knowing where we would be at this point. Here's what I know. I know that I want to thank you for the process of listening and thoughtfully considering what the community is saying. I have nothing further to add to what I have stated at previous meetings, so I won't go on. I thank you for all you're doing and trust you to do the right thing. Thank you.
Is Dee Tucker here? Yeah. Oh, did you have did we already read your comment, Ms. Tucker, that you emailed in? Is that, we've already read your comment?
She's, yeah.
And
Go
then
ahead.
Linda Vanderweed would be next, and Phyllis
Go
Wade.
ahead.
I came at noon and signed up first, and because I have a T in my name, I'm almost last. Hi, I'm a woman in my 70s. I retired here 10 years ago for the amenities, for the community, and for the safety. I took a bus tour and learned about the library, and I became a volunteer at the library. Then the PC Club reached out, and I volunteer at the PC Club. I attended the last committee meeting and today and listened to Nancy and Andy, and I applaud you for your focus and energy that you put into your proposal. Yet, I heard half-truths or not truths in your proposal, because we do use the computer room for people who need computers. They come in to use the computer, the printer, the scanner, and I've not had anybody ask how to use an app. We also have 981 residents walk into the workshop last month. We have classes that we provide. 164 residents took classes, one of which that was asked by VMS, GRF, to do Dwelling Live. So we actually teach residents how to get on to Dwelling Live. we do not teach any class on YouTube. We have the free tax program. We did 1,220 taxes this year. That means the residents had to, thank you. The residents had to come into the workshop twice. They come in to bring their taxes and they come back to pick them up. So I'm just offended by two things. One is that we are underutilizing the space. I don't understand what you want us to do. We could have square dancing on Friday night. Would that be more utilizing the space? And secondly, I'm offended that we get free real estate. We've never been asked to pay for room rent. If that is a need by the committee or the association, that could be proposed to us, but to ding us for something that we've never been asked for. I voluntarily serve residents 15 hours a week, and I know that your volunteer service as a board member is probably many more hours than that. I support Jim's proposal, and I know this decision is difficult, but I know that you will make the right decision to serve the residents and respect the clubs that do the work. Thank you.
I'm the board member of Archery Club, and I want to remind Nancy and Andy, and I think you two missed a couple very key factors. The number one, that in order for the range to exist in the city, you have to apply a conditional use permit from City of Laguna Woods. And involved within that process, that the city will have to go through the environmental study and public safety study. And over 4,000 legal letters were sent in 13 radius to inform the adjacent residents. And based on the city's zoning code and municipality code, the sheriff department was involved, inspected, and the legal attorney, city attorney were involved. And it took several months and made us pay the 4,000 deposit to apply for that permit. And once that permit was established, that permit only applied to that exact location. So if for example, if we move to Clubhouse for promotion, you're promoting, that you will have to reapply for the conditional use permit. And so you have to reapply for that.
I think that was actually better, I think.
So you have to reapply for that conditional permit. And based on the city's zoning code and municipality code, it's the city decision. It's not up to the village. So this is what you need to consider. And second, another key issue is that if you put us outdoor, I want you to read city's municipality and ordinance as well, because it's strictly prohibited for outdoor range. That's not going to happen. So, I believe each club, no matter how big they are, how old they are, and how contribute money they are, and how small they are, how new they are, how old they are, everyone has a solid right, equal right to exist and to survive, to maintain. So I want to put that into every committee member's mind. So before we do spend money and hire somebody, a consulting firm to do a cost analysis, I suggest you should do a feasibility analysis first. Feasibility assessment is the key before you spend any money on anything else. And city of Laguna Woods, in Laguna Woods city boundary limitation, doesn't matter if it's public or private land, the outdoor archery range is extremely prohibited. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The next speaker is Phyllis Waite, and then Andreas Weaver, and those are all the cards I have.
Okay, good.
Okay.
First of all, thank you all for coming here and presenting to us what the options are, what you're thinking, and involving the community. It's extremely impressive. So the old saying, if it ain't fixed, or if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Well, Building E is broken. Fix it. The community center is meant for the community, just like it has been. And somebody said for the table tennis club, and the same goes for the PC club. Yes, they both have clubs within them. And those club members take responsibility for keeping that space going. Both of them do. However, both clubs, and I'll speak just for the PC club, are very community-minded. They say everywhere, do not need to be a member, do not need to be a member, because it is a community service and should remain housed in the community center, as should the tennis club, just like it said. So if I haven't been clear, Mr. Hopkins, I really like your suggestion. Building E is freaking broken. Fix it. I've seen this community in 13 years I've been here spend millions on attorneys and consultants. Keep it going around and around, and you're just going to spend more. So fix it. It's broken. Leave the community center alone. And if we have enough money, let's build a new recreation center. Thank you.
Somebody has to go last. I guess it's me. I'll keep it short. I'm with the archery club. You guys should all join because you're going to learn it's not ready, shoot, aim. Ready, aim, shoot. You're talking about moving the table tennis into a couple of buildings that aren't suited for it. You just remodeled those buildings. And I promise you the cost is just money flushed down the toilet because you didn't think it through. Now you're going to repurpose a repurposed building. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to relocate clubs, we've been closed for 6 months. We took it. Have new facilities available before you relocate a club. Think about it, not backwards. Kick them out for a couple of years, and then hope you can find a place for them. There, thank you.
And we had one more speaker, Tom Warfel, 2402 2B.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fellow residents, fellow Medicare Club people, and all of America. Don't touch the Sistine Chapel. And I think you know what I mean. Also, this is the room I celebrated my 70th birthday last March. We loaded this room as many people as my wife would allow me. We had to cut it off at several hundred members, but you know, the biggest complaint they even had then for the people that were there that evening was the lightings were too dark for older people. We only had 2 people trip, and they were under the age of 50. So we thought that was pretty good. But looking forward to this year, the Michael John Table Tennis Tournament is recognized around the world, but it's been downgraded because of these lights. And if we can just put a little more recessed lighting in, fix the ones that are broken, I guarantee you we could get ESPN, NBC, a lot of the major newspapers here, because this is a positive place in a world that's kind of dark right now. And we need more places like this to put smile on people's faces, because all of our property values will go up anyway. And not that we're looking for that, but it sure is a great place. My son loves bringing his friends here, and I'm sure you have grandchildren that can't wait to come here to ride in your golf carts around the community. So I love you guys. I look forward to many happy memories here. Fix the lights. Make this the greatest place. Let's make the villages look very sad. Let's make this the villages of California, which I think it already is. Thank you very much.
Okay, I guess that completes the comments. I'm curious, just by show of hands, how many of you would think that the first proposal is the best way for the village to go? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What's the? Oh, the first proposal was to shuffle. Okay. To bring all the security into the community center and have all the staff organizations in the community center, and listen, hear me out. That's the first proposal, and therefore you would have to move around some of the recreational activities that are currently in the community center. Pardon me. So that's the first proposal. So how many of you would be for that? Just hypothetically, the question. Yeah, I mean, your vote doesn't count. Okay. But it's just, I think we just need. You hear a lot of commentary, and so you want to understand how the community really is reacting to this. Yeah. Well, it's yeah. Well, when would be the right time to yeah. Point of order. But this is right. So, and I value your opinion, but I'm asking you, when would be? I mean, we don't have a process by which we ask for a show of hands of anything. Okay, and so. If we want to get the impact from the community, we need to have some way of doing it. Maybe we take a survey or something. Okay?
Well, how about...
And let me entertain. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
And by the way, this is probably very unique, because up to now, this community has not involved, or at least GRF, doesn't have a mechanism at the committee level to have this much input. We've never done this, at least in my 11 years here, okay? And this is something that impacts more than one club, 2 clubs, 3 clubs, whatever, okay? And so I just wanted to take the temperature. There's no voting here. I just wanted to take a temperature. And I'm not sure what the risk is, okay, of doing that, okay?
Jim, Sue, I think this is more like a town hall, and so if you want to have another meeting, call it a town hall, then definitely it would be appropriate to have a vote.
Yeah, to take a vote, to advertise it ahead of time as such.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's... Okay, I'm gonna go off script and ask how many here would favor rebuilding Building E? Margin. Okay. All right. Okay. Just want to get a show of hands. Okay. No. So what we'll do is I will, my thought is that there are two proposals, and there's a third one, I guess, that is been offered, but that has had no analysis at all. And we've been at this for a year. And so this, to have something, a new approach come up after a year, to me is just going around in circles again. And we've got to get off the dime. So I'm just, we can vote on that, okay, in terms of making go forward. But I'd like to go forward with with the best, okay, I'll call it this way. What I want to do is go through here and take a vote with the committee here as to the favorite, what their best proposal is, and then the second one both go. The first one goes to GRF as a recommendation, okay, with a cost estimate at that point, and the second one goes forward with a cost estimate also, with a second choice recommendation to GRF. So the GRF, the board itself, has two choices, okay? And then the community can be involved in that process also, all right? Because, okay, so I will entertain a motion to that effect. Yeah? Yeah, I wanted both of these to go. Okay. Entertain a motion for both of these to go forward and be costed out. Yeah.
May I just propose one other option is just to continue renting and let.
Oh no.
And wait. and let the interest money from what you are going to spend pay for the lease.
No, and here's why that. Let me tell you how this works. Right now, the money for leasing is coming out of the reserve bucket simply because it is anticipating a capital expenditure. Once there is no anticipation of a capital expenditure, it then becomes part of your operating expense. So as that lease goes up, and it will, your HOA fee will go up. So that is a non-starter from my perspective that GRF would never consider.
I'm not saying not continue looking, but do, as some other people here have suggested, do a little bit more planning for the future. As you said, this came up in 2011, and not much has been done since 2011.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. It was brought forth to everyone like this type of a situation. And things do change. So you may want to take a little more time to make a decision.
Well,
and it may be it may be what you're proposing today. It may be something different. That's all I'm saying. It's a third option.
Right, and I appreciate all of the options, but we have delayed this and delay and delay. We've got to get off the dime and make a decision, okay? Yeah. So we have a motion. We have a motion on the table. I guess everybody's kind of wigged out. Yeah. The next step is to have them both costed out, okay? But also, I'm going to entertain a motion to have both move forward to GRF with option 1 and 2, in terms of favorite option, because we can't keep rolling this into this committee. We'll come up with a new answer every single time we meet.
Point of information.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion on the table?
Yeah, but I'm talking about it right now.
What is the
yeah,
motion?
The motion on the table, and you I guess you made the motion, right? So can you repeat the motion? Can we have quiet out there, please?
We don't have a motion on the table.
Excuse me. First of all, can we have some quiet out there in the room? Okay. I've let this meeting get out of control. I realize that, but I also want to make sure that we're getting the flavor of what the community is thinking, okay? And I thank all of you for being patient with us, okay? But sometimes Robert's Rules does not get the right responses that we need in the community. So let me just say, can you repeat the motion, please?
Let me ask, Sandra, did you capture the motion I made earlier? Okay.
No, we did not.
I'll try to remember.
No motion. How can it be captured?
I made the motion that we refer to staff to cost out the various proposals that we have heard today, and there were 2 from Nancy and Andy that were listed as option 1 and then option 1A kind of. Then there's one from Jim as well, and there is a 4th one from Cush. So there were 4 options that needed to have, in my view, my motion, to have some numbers attached to them that staff could generate for us, and if need be, could take it farther to an accounting firm for verification. Right.
I'd like to amend the motion.
Okay. No, the motion hasn't been seconded yet. Okay.
Thank you.
Moved in second. Are we ready for the question? No, that's the question.
To just add the words rough order of magnitude cost. What does that mean?
Well, I think she said have staff do it, which to me means there's no outside cost associated with it. Okay. Staff has a comment?
This is along the lines of the comment we got that we should first do a feasibility study, and that's kind of the definition of a feasibility study. Don't put a whole lot of money into it or a lot of time.
Manuel, staff had a comment? Yeah. No, I want to hear. Look, this is not about one-upsmanship. This is about getting the good stuff, understanding on the table.
Mr. Chair, from a procedural standpoint, I would just ask that the committee consider that this ad hoc advisory committee was formed by the board, and therefore, if the maker of the motion would consider that the recommendation should be that the board direct staff to do whatever you want done.
Okay. And that was kind of my thinking in terms of the first, is have both of these go up to the board so that the board can make that call.
The distinction I'm making, sir, is that before staff spends resources putting cost estimates together, as the department head who would be making those estimates, I would be more comfortable getting that direction from the board.
And that is exactly why I said we wanted to move them forward to the board first, and then the cost estimates can be. That's the reason for moving it to the board, or part of the reason. Okay.
So
we already know which.
So if the record would, the motion could be amended to that effect, that would be advisable. But it's up to the committee. Obviously, that's just my input.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to amend the amended motion that this committee refer all of the proposal to the GRF full board for consideration. Whatever they want to do with it is out of the hand of this committee.
So it's been moved second. Are there any? No.
I'm sorry.
We're through with you guys. So it's been
Mr.
moved
Chair,
second.
you would need a second to either the initially amended motion or to the subsequently amended motion. And I don't think you have a second yet for that.
Yeah. Is there a second to Race's proposal? Okay. Moved in second. All those in agreement with I don't think when there's a motion on the board, on the table, there's no resident comment. Okay. Okay. Okay, okay. All right. I stand corrected. You know, I don't have Joan here to correct me on this. So, come forward.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure that we are not overspending time and money-wise. What Sue mentioned was ROM, RAM. That means that rough order of magnitude. What that means is basically simple. Don't go into all the detail to have the staff to go all of the detail to get all of the costs, because that will be too costly, too timely.
Right.
It takes about 6 months to a year to get that.
Well, I think.
So we should just get like a square footage cost based on
But,
all of
sir,
the changes or the impact that's going
understand.
to take place.
The thing is, I think that's up for staff to be able to determine, because they do this. All right? And I understand where you're going with that. But all we want to do right now on the table is to move 2 of these proposals forward so that GRF can make the decisions as to when you get a rough order of magnitude or bids or whatever they do, whatever they want to
Is
do.
this a rough
GRF board is the only one that can make the decision for them to do that work.
Okay.
Okay, and so I understand where you're going. Maggie, you had a.
All right. If you.
I think we have to clarify that GRF board members, we have a policy that they can speak before we vote on something, but not members, just GRF board members.
Yeah, or membership board.
No, GRF board members attend committee meetings,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons it always says on the agenda that members of the GRF board may be present.
It said board members may be present. No, it's no.
A quorum of the GRF board may be present. That's what it
No, it says.
As
Anyway.
as a co-president of Robert's Rules of Order Club, I will tell you what is customarily done here, is that when you have all had a chance to speak, then you open it up to the attending audience for resident comments after you have had a chance to speak. Okay? Now, as to the material that we're talking about, you have resoundingly here found that the entire group here, to a person, does not favor the first proposal. All right? So if you are going to send both of them, are you willing then, if the cost comes for the first proposal, it's less expensive, that you will go ahead and present the first proposal? That's exactly what's
Well-
going to happen if that's what it turns out.
No,
And you have heard from everybody here today that the first proposal is not acceptable to the populace. And so why should you have any more to do
the
with
committee would like to advance both proposals to remember, these are simply GRF recommendations to GRF.
Then submit both proposals as they stand, and before you do any cost analysis.
Yeah, that's.
Submit them
and then-
as they stand right now.
And GRF would make the decision which to
Yes.
do a cost analysis on,
Right.
whether it's one or both.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, just a point of clarification,
Yeah.
the amended motion on the floor is to send all 4 options to
No.
the board. Well,
No.
that was the amended motion made by Director Karimi
Okay.
and seconded by Director Sue
All right,
Stevens.
Again, well, time out. It doesn't matter, and you're right, because GRF will make the decisions as to which ones to seriously consider. The last 2 come up in the last day after we've been for 11 months. To me, it's just not. It's just not okay. So yeah, we will. So let's take, I guess the motion on the table is for all four to go forward for consideration.
Kid,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
right.
Okay. Just the GRF.
No, wait a minute.
Believe me, GRF will make the right decisions. Okay. No, you don't get a vote on that. So let's vote. Let's vote. Okay. All those in favor
Hang on a moment.
of having all four go forward?
Discussion
Yeah,
first, please.
discussion. All right, go ahead.
So if I'm right, the amended motion right now, the amended motion was to recommend all four go forward to GRF.
As a recommendation in some order. Okay, just go forward.
Just to go forward.
Okay, could go forward.
Because you're
Fine.
saying that GRF needs to make the decision for staff time.
You see,
The GRF board versus this committee. And I just want to remind you that corporate members will end up voting on it if it's a new building proposal.
Yeah.
And the goal of this committee should be to come to at least close to unanimous, if not unanimous, decision to recommend something, and then the GRF board the same way, and then the corporate members. Unless we have a complete analysis at some level, the same thing's going to happen at the corporate member level again, in my opinion. And we'll be back here again unless we take the proper process.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. Here's where I would disagree, is that taking all four to GRF probably doesn't make a difference, doesn't make sense, okay? Yeah, because so we'll go through this all again, okay? And so this committee has to make a choice, one or two. And I was being gracious by saying twos when I look at the hands that went up, okay? And I think it is a good idea for both of the major proposals to advance, all right, to GRF. But if somebody wants four, then that means we made no choice at all, okay? And we've been here doing all of this for no reason at all. It makes no sense. We need to make a choice, one and two, here, this committee, okay, and move forward with the recommendation of one and two. That's how I look at it.
For discussion purposes?
Yes.
I don't think it hurts to say that we're forwarding the four to GRF so that they can determine how to direct staff as far as which one they want the staff to spend money on evaluating, spend time.
The reason I disagree with that only because the other two, okay, have not become evaluated at all. They were last-minute proposals. We've been at this for 11 months. And if I expand that, we've been at it for at least the recent ideas for the last 4 years. And if I go beyond that, it's been 13 years. So we cannot we've got to advance the ball, okay? We've got to advance the ball. So with that.
Can we withdraw any, can we vote to eliminate the previous motions and start all over?
Yeah.
I withdraw my motion.
So, Jim, may I say something?
If everybody would withdraw their motions, and then we'll start from the beginning. Okay. Okay.
Can I make a member
But we have a former board member here by her own
I
admission.
just want to state, if you had how many meetings now? The first one I heard was enormous amount of people showed up.
Mhm.
Now you've got another room full of people. Is it the purpose of your jobs to hear what we want
Mhm.
and go with it? I don't hear any person in the community ever wanting to go along with this, move everybody up. We're all saying the same thing to you. You're talking about 44 people. And all of a sudden, we're talking $6 million when it could be $2 million to just build the damn building, put them back, and leave us alone. Why are you going to now spend staff time money to evaluate if you see the residents coming out and they raise their hand in favor of everybody get out of the third floor, everybody's happy with all the clubs being moved all over the place, you haven't heard that.
Yeah.
So why are we going to spend staff time? I'm just asking you to think about the motion that you're filing.
Yeah, and
Because we
again,
own the place and you represent us.
I do. Yeah. And let's say, I thank you in being a former board member, but I think you also know what we are up against in terms of interboard communication and governance. Therein lies the big issue. And I'll be honest, what the big issue is interboard governance competition, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm just speaking out of frustration, because what I just hear is politics will be over what the community wants. That's what I keep hearing. You've got to make sure that you satisfy the corporate members, which are the mutuals, okay? And the mutuals are the corporate members are going to vote the way they vote, but they got to hear from you, okay? And hopefully you heard it today. Now, just let me talk, because I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because what we've done with this problem and many other problems, we go round and round and round and round because of politics and not looking at the best interests of the community. And the community has been invited to opine on this, okay? I've purposely done that through my emails, okay? Is to come in and opine. I don't know what the answer was going to be. I know, but this answer needed to come from you guys. And now what I'm hearing is maneuvering here, okay? That's what's happening. You know it and I know it. There's a lot of maneuvering here so someone can get their way. Well, they can get their way. They can get their way by allowing this to move forward in the right channels and have a good analysis done on what the two major ones. But if we don't go back or to GRF's whatever GRF thinks they want to do, okay? But if we started to act as if we don't do what we should do or think is best interest of the community, because it may or may not be passed by the corporate members. If it's not passed, whatever happens, if it's not passed by the corporate members, guess what? You guys need to hold each corporate member accountable. And that's what's got to happen.
Jim, can I propose that you send, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, we are at the committee level, but I'm the chair, and so I'm being obstinate at this point, and I'm voicing my opinion on something that has long been held within me as we try to go through the rules. Okay, yeah, and all the motions are withdrawn at the moment. Yes, they were withdrawn. The motions have been withdrawn.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just so that we have it on the record, because the motions were not made into the microphone, so we can just get confirmation that the amended motion by Director Karimi and Director Stevens were withdrawn, and then the original motion by Director Bach and whoever seconded are also withdrawn.
Yeah.
And the meeting minutes will reflect that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So let's just move on.
So you could move on, is that you do propose both of them and just say that the general consensus in the room was for proposal 2.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So I'll entertain a new motion to take proposals 1 and 2 in order of their preference. 2 and 1. Okay, option 2 was first. Option 1 was second. Okay. And again, we have to take. This is basically the committee voting to do that. And so I'll entertain. I'll entertain a motion to take both of the options forward in order of the community preference.
Jim, can I say something to you?
Yes.
When you say option 1 and option 2, the option 1 had A and B. So that would mean option 2 doesn't carry into it because they have 2 options. So
Okay, proposal.
Proposal
Call
1A.
it, rather than
1
option, let's call them proposals.
Okay, 1A, 1B. Are you going to treat them separately or together?
No, the proposal was one proposal. It may have included 2 options, but they were so similar.
But then they would not get a proper costing.
Well, let GRF deal with that. Let GRF.
No, I'm
because
concerned
I'm
because
just saying,
you're trying to eliminate the proposal that I made. That's why I'm asking that question.
It effectively does.
How is that possible? Why would you do that?
Because it's been 11 months we've been doing this, and now you come up with this
I
proposal.
have been talking about it for the last 11 months, and nobody has heard it.
You
So
have not,
after frustration,
sir, you have not
excuse me,
presented. You have
are
not presented
just-
a proposal. You have not presented a proposal. We all did the work. You have not presented a proposal.
It is an idea.
It's an.
But yours is also an idea. Only thing you put a lot of numbers next to it. We just don't want to argue about it
Sir,
unnecessarily.
you think this is just an idea?
It is an idea.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to entertain that. Look, let's go back. Okay, I'll entertain.
I hate to argue like this over here.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's
I'm not
just
going to argue with it.
unnecessary.
You asked the question. It does not include your proposal.
Okay, go ahead. We'll find out.
Oh. Oh, my goodness. Us people. Go ahead.
Okay, relax, Jim. Jim made a proposal that 2 proposals move up to GRF. Do we have a second on that? The proposal by Nancy and Andy and the proposal by Jim. Those 2 proposals go to GRF for whatever next step, which is costing or whatever. Is that seconded by anybody? I'm clarifying. I know, that's what I'm saying. Complete proposal. There was one complete proposal. They call it A and B, I don't care. There is one proposal that Andy and Nancy made. I know, but it's one presentation. That goes to them. I mean, they decide what they want to do with it, how they're going to direct the staff, because this is all going to come down to what GRF going to do with the staff. They're going to say how to price it, get the, the cost estimate, get a real estimate. I don't know. That's GRF business. All we're trying to do, we heard a proposal from Andy and Nancy, which had all those elements, and we heard a proposal from Jim that have all those present. We're saying that let's forward those, because if we try to mince the, the thing here, and we're going to be here till 2 o'clock in the morning.
For the purpose of directing staff.
Exactly. If that is acceptable, then please, somebody second it.
I'll second.
Okay. Now, back to you.
Thank you. Okay. Moved in second. Are you ready for the vote?
Now you can ask
Okay.
if there is opinion, I guess.
Okay. Discussion.
That eliminates the proposal of as is. That eliminates, your proposal is rebuild E. That's one proposal. If that is one proposal, fine. And then the other proposal was the proposal from Nancy. And yeah. Okay, so there are 2 proposals, 1 and 2. And you send those to the board, and then the board can do whatever it wants with evaluation. So that, as long as one of the proposals is your proposal.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you can vote on that.
No, we'll take a vote now, but I would think so. That would be our choice. Not everybody has been here, Juanita. Not everybody on the board has been here. So
a caveat would.
So let's get the next. You have Maggie. You have somebody behind you.
I'm sorry. I was going to say a caveat would be that you can say the clubs with vehemence disagree with.
No,
are in favor of yours, so that we do not have to come again to do this meeting again in front of GRF.
Yeah, it's obvious. That's pretty obvious, but go ahead.
I'm speaking now. It's my turn. Let the minutes show there were 300 people here from the village, and that we feel strongly about two issues that we want you to vote. But you have to include the village. We have a response. We have been eager to respond. Please, board ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, done!
Thank you. Okay.
I just want to make one more painful comment here. This is about 44 people, you keep losing sight of all of this, 44 people who lived happily ever after in a building of 5,500 square feet. So how we wind up with somebody treating this community like we're a corporation, we are not. We are senior people. We don't go to work every day. We go to play every day. And all these things that you're talking about in this proposal with people who work for a living is moving all us people around because somebody decided that we needed more space. I want to tell you personally, have you ever gone to under Clubhouse for pool? There's no windows there. So how come? Oh yeah, but it's disgusting space. It's disgusting space. So what did they do with it? They turned it, when they moved the Bridge Club out to Clubhouse 7, what did they do with it? They turned it into storage. So, you know, another day, another time, talk about other things. But if you think you're going to go to management and you tell me that all this proposal stuff isn't going to cost us a fortune, it's already cost us $50,000 for somebody to tell us that everything has to be changed, there's something fundamentally wrong here. I know from the board there's always arguments, there's always disagreements, there's always 5 against 6, you know, my team versus your team. But this is a situation which is all of you against the community. Nobody wants this upheaval.
Yeah.
Don't
yeah,
want
no,
it.
Yeah, but no, I understand how it. Yeah, okay. But this is the process, and unfortunately, it is part of the process. It's frustrating to me too, so I get it, but it's part of the process. So there's a motion on the table. All right. And we've heard from the
Hello.
Okay.
What motion's now on the table?
Okay.
Okay. I'm on. If we pass this motion, okay, does that mean this committee is over?
It sure would.
Yippee!
Okay. It means we will have completed our task, okay, which is to bring a or several proposals to GRF for a decision.
Well, wait, I want to.
Oh, Nancy wants to talk again.
Okay, Nancy.
Thanks. So, folks, you know, I didn't have skin in the game when this whole thing started, when we were I fulfilled my duty with relative to the assignment. I do want to make it clear, because I had a lot of people in the course of talking to the presidents of the various clubs. You know, 1A, table tennis wanted more space, okay, so they had a big turnout today. The turnout today were advocates for table tennis, shuffleboard, and archery. And if I was on members of those clubs, which obviously I can't, and PC Club, right, I would be advocating as you did too. And I don't mean this offensively, but the people who are here today are not the embodiment of the entire community. the thing that they trained us in director's training, I'm probably the newest director, I'd like to say the youngest, but that wouldn't be true, is they emphasize over and over, we are fiduciaries to the duty to our corporate member. The corporate members are 3 corporations, the 3 mutuals, United, Third, and 50. We have to act in the interests of the corporation, and the fiduciary duty is not only legal, it's financial. So therefore, it's important that we have these proposals, the assignment that we worked on, and we fulfilled the task that was given to us. It was a directive from the committee, which was a motion which has the effect of law. We fulfilled that. And
Whoa.
Excuse
a
me?
motion with the effect of law?
Yes. And when we asked that, corporate counsel confirmed that in writing, that in fact, what the latitude. But I'm not going to, it's not a
subcommittee has a...
No, a motion.
A motion.
A motion
in
has...
a subcommittee has the impact of law?
Well, you can speak with Mr. Beaumont
Whoa.
yourself. You can speak with Mr. Beaumont yourself. Excuse me, point of order.
Okay,
Can we?
point
Can
of
I
order,
please
but
finish?
Can you wrap it up, please?
Well, you talked for about 45 minutes,
I'm
so
the
I'd
chair.
like 2 minutes.
I'm the chair.
I'd like 2 minutes.
I'm the chair. Keep going.
Thank you.
No.
So, in essence, what we're trying to do is send back to the committee the proposals to be costed, because as fiduciaries, we have an obligation to make that request. It's not whether I want it, you want it, he wants it, or anybody else. That is what our corporate duty as a director is.
Let me,
And
this is time for the,
It's
this
time for the
is the
committee.
time for us to talk. I'm going to say that one thing only. This committee was charged to come with proposal to go to GRF. We have done our duty. That's the end of the story. We came up with 2 proposals. I don't care who for it, who against it. There are 2 proposals on the floor. These 2 proposals, this committee have the right to send to GRF for consideration. Whatever GRF decide is on GRF, not on this committee. We are done.
All right, there's a motion on the table. Let's call for the vote. All in favor of it moving forward to the 2 proposals moving forward to GRF for consideration, whatever that means, please raise your hand.
I couldn't hear the motion. I couldn't hear. Put your hand up.
Who couldn't hear? I said the motion is for the first 2 proposals to move forward to GRF for consideration. Okay? For consideration. GRF makes the decision to do what it does. You can't tell. You can make a recommendation. You cannot tell GRF to do anything. It's the same thing.
If you don't like their decision, you're going to go sue.
Yeah. So it moves forward. So all those in favor?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
We need
This committee is done.
Mr. Chairman, we need to know if, you said all in favor, I didn't see everybody's hand go up, so we need to record the no votes.
There is 1 no there and 1 no there. No. There is no.
I apologize. This table setup doesn't make it easy to
I
see,
got it.
so
So
we need to know.
Cush and Tom said no.
Mr. Chair, do you want to just skip the last few items on the agenda and adjourn the meeting?
The meeting is adjourned.